Do not worry.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new Do Not Worry stream. I'm your host, Anthony, coming to you live from the heart of these United States. We are in a rush today, folks. I had a long day. Had to go to the hospital in the morning with my mom. Just a little checkup. Nothing urgent. Got a stream. Then I'm going to go meet one of my best friend's kids later this afternoon. So I am on I have like no time to waste. I have like 2 minutes. I have a 2-minute break between everything that I had to do. So we got some things to get to. But before we get into it, folks, let me just take a second to thank some of our lovely YouTube members. If you guys want to support the channel, remember you can do so by becoming a YouTube member or by gifting memberships. That's one of the best ways that you can support the channel. Let me take a second to thank some of our lovely YouTube members. We have a goal of 600 members by the end of like the next couple months. We are currently at 357 members, which is awesome. I want to thank members such as Sunflower Dragon, who's been a member for 12 months. Holy shit. Wonderland Joey, who's been a member for 6 months. Thank you so much, Wonderland Joey. Indy Hansen. Thank you so much, Indy. Berbara. Maxwell GT. Ismail. Leila J. Thank you so much. Soso22214. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Members get exclusive content, by the way, either live streams or videos, fun stuff like that. You also get some cool stickers in the chat. John Clifton, 2820, who's been a member for 17 days. Thank you, John Clifton. Appreciate you. Aiden Copycat as well as Dabby GMBH. Richards 2776. Thank you so much. Pazamandur. Thank you so much. And Dreadful Utopia, who's been a member for 15 months. Jesus, Dreadful. That's fucking awesome. Thanks so much, Dreadful. Our beloved Dreadful, who's also a big part of our Discord. Bad Pierogi, Bacon and Meg, Skate from Canada. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Whether you've been a member for like 1 day or you've been gifted your membership and have never paid for your membership, whether you're out there gifting memberships, paying for your memberships for many, many months, we appreciate you. We thank you. Thank you all. Genuinely, really makes a big difference. Also, our patrons, our beloved patrons, folks. 2 brand new patrons that I want to thank. Jordan M. Thank you so much, Jordan, for re-upping your Patreon. Such a sweetheart. And Villamina. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And let me thank some other patrons such as Megan Lowndes, It's Dylan, Burp Reynolds, Elise Marrero, Coco Exists, Samir Adadao, Paradise Lair, and A Rose for You, Faddy Mac, Legal and Lipstick, and Rhea D. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. But please remember, you don't have to be a member. You don't have to be a patron. You don't have to gift memberships. You don't have to send in a super chat to support the channel. Simply like the stream, subscribe to the channel, make sure you become part of the family, hop into the live chat, say hello, join our Discord, say hello, join the family. We will love and appreciate you forever. This is going to be a pretty chill stream. We have a few things to talk about. I'm going to try to keep it limited to the 2 things that I have in the title. We're going to react to Piers Morgan having a bunch of those racist chuds, the incels, including Papa Incel, Nerdrotic, who I've recently beefed with, on to talk about, surprise, surprise, the Odyssey, and why they all hate it and think it's too woke because there's a black actress and there's Elliot Page in there. And we're going to try to react to LUS, some kind of YouTube lawyer who's still simping for Ethan Klein for some fucking reason. So we're going to react to his little video groveling and licking Ethan Klein's taint so we can maybe get some free Teddy Fresh. And you're going to get some quick Argentina versus thoughts versus England because... Look, we're not going to get into the game, okay? England kind of fucked that one up. Obviously, there was a lot of preferential treatment for the Argentinian team with all the tackling, with all the fouls, Messi getting his way, but also as soon as the England team scored, they just kind of sat back and tried to like defend, which obviously that wasn't going to work, at least not against this Argentinian side. So they kind of, I mean, they didn't play all that great, but there was also a lot of preferential treatment. But what I really want to talk about is the reaction from Israeli politicians, the most right-wing, the most evil Israeli politicians expressing their support for Argentina, which is just making me hate the Argentinian football team more and more. Dare I say, maybe even the country. Itmar Ben-Gvir put this out, says, do I really have to explain to you why I pray with all my heart for the Argentinian national team to win tonight and make it to the final? But also the way, there was someone on Twitter that was actually, that got pretty pissed at a lot of my tweets. He or she are from Argentina. And they're like, listen, we're not happy about this shit as well. The right-wing Argentinian, like a political party, is like, you know, trying to sell off our land to the Israelis. We are out there protesting this shit all the time. So this is kind of like a coordinated thing between the Israeli government and the right-wing Argentinian government to kind of make it seem like they're great friends so that, you know, they're able to, I guess, purchase land in Argentina or like steal. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. But like someone from Argentina wasn't happy with me on Twitter, but that's okay. You know, I told him, listen, I still hate the fucking team. And Bezalel Smotrich, whose son was sent to southern Lebanon and who got a piece of shrapnel stuck in his liver. Hope your son's doing horribly, you piece of shit. Said, I may not be able to enter the UK because I'm dismantling the idea of the Palestinian state, but 2 exiles enter just fine. Javier, greetings, friend. And he tags Javier Milei, the Argentinian president. So when you have Smotrich, Netanyahu, and Ben-Gvir openly supporting the Argentinian football team, that is all the reason I need to fucking hate that team for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Anything that makes the Israelis sad and upset is who I'm going to support. So let's go Spain. Even though Spain were the colonized Argentina, and I'm supposed to be with the colonized against the colonizers, I am breaking all the rules this time. I'm going to support the Spanish team. Let's fucking go colonize the shit out of Argentina. Take it back. I left my water bottle outside, folks. I left my water bottle outside. I'll be right back. Also, heads up, tomorrow is the day that I'm going to try to do the popcorn bucket tier list. There's just a lot of stuff that came up today. I thought of even maybe doing it today. Can I move this? Can I move this without ruining my audio? Yes, I can. Nice. Hello, hello. Is it still working? Hello, hello. Oh, yes, it's still working. All right, cool. No. Okay, so also just quick, here is Jude Bellingham, who smacks an Argentinian player in the head. So I think this is what happened. All right, this Argentinian player maybe did not know that Jude Bellingham speaks Spanish. So I think the rumor is that he said something racist. As soon as he stepped next to Jude Bellingham, he said something racist about Jude Bellingham. Maybe not racist, but just like insulted him, thinking that Jude Bellingham wouldn't understand. But Jude Bellingham, being the Spanish speaker that he is, just walks up to him. And this was all of us yesterday. Jude Bellingham represented all of us yesterday with that little fucking smack on the head. Look at that. Wait. Bam! Look at that little smack. So look at the bottom screen. Look at the bottom screen, okay? Smack, you little piece of shit. What'd you say about me? What'd you say about me? I think you could see him saying hijo de puto or something like that. But yeah, fuck him up, dude. Honestly, fuck him up. Fuck this Argentinian fucking team, dude. They all look like scumbags, dude. Plus, I'm sorry, I hate the tattoos of the Argentinian team are like the ugliest fucking tattoos I've ever seen in my life. And look, I have tattoos. Tattoos are subjective. You might find my tattoos are the ugliest things on earth. You might find they're the most beautiful things on earth. As long as the person who has the tattoo finds them nice. But like the Argentinian team has these like fucking messy fucking like full sleeves. It's just like black lines and just look, they look fucking messy as shit. They look so fucking busy. They're disgusting tattoos. They have the worst fucking taste in tattoos, these Argentinians, dude. All of them. Every tattoo that I see from the Argentinian side is uglier than the last. Like, just give their arm to the tattoo artist. Just draw a bunch of messy, squiggly lines on that shit. I don't want the people to be able to tell what the fuck these are. Just draw random black shit on my arm. And that's what the Argentinian team fucking does with their tattoos, dude. They're so fucking I don't know. I think I'm just, at this point, I just fucking hate that team so much. I hate their teeth. I hate their fucking veneers. I hate their fucking haircuts. I hate Messi's dumb face and his dumb chin. Messi looks like such an idiot when Messi was celebrating. I hate him. I hate him from the bottom of my heart. Genuinely, there's nothing I could say. Yeah, Dana says, I feel like their tattoos are early 2000s court. They're hideous. They are hideous full sleeve tattoos. Goddamn. I think he said, come mierda. Let's watch it again. Let's see what he says. Can anybody read lips? Fuck him up. Fuck up that little ginger. Let's go. Yeah, he mogged all of them, by the way. Ugly ass Argentinians. Anyways. Sorry, guys. And if anyone here is from Argentina, please do not be upset. Aitor sends 500 Argentinian pesos. Oh my God, thank you so much. Dude, the inflation in your country is fucking crazy, dude. He says, what about the Palestinians who were celebrating Argentina's victory? Anthony, have you forgotten that the original colonizer was England? Stop falling for Zionist propaganda. I don't know how many times to explain. They want to ISIS. I know, Aitor, that's what I'm telling you. Someone on Twitter was like angry at me. You know what I mean? Someone on Twitter was yelling at me. But I just got to be honest with you. England was the original colonizer, but this is just how much I hate the Argentinian football team right now. I am siding with all of the colonizers. I'm sorry, dude. You got Netanyahu celebrating, Ben Gvir celebrating, Smotrich celebrating, the entire Israeli population is celebrating. I apologize, man. You know? So, I know that a lot of people that support Argentina aren't Zionists, but at this point, as far as I'm concerned, Argentina at the World Cup equals Israel. And Spain has been very vocally pro-Palestine. What's his name? Yamin Lamal. I don't even know his fucking name. No, Lamin Yamal is also pretty pro-Palestine. I ain't fucking with Argentina, guys. I'm sorry. Honestly, I fucking hate this whole World Cup. This whole fucking World Cup has been like a fucking disaster, dude. It has been horrible to watch. Every time I watch a game, I end up getting pissed off and angry. So it has not been a fun time. But yeah, I just fucking hate the Argentinian football team, man. I'm so sorry to tell you, Aitors. I hate them so much. I hate their tattoos, their hair, their teeth, everything about them, you know? And I think Argentina is easily my least favorite Latin American country. That's it. It's official. I hate the country. I never want to set foot there. I don't want to befriend any Argentinians. I apologize. Sorry, guys. Fucking hate them. And Messi. God, do I hate Messi. God, do I hate that little motherfucker, dude. Jumping on, this was a clip that I wanted to react to. Actor Mark Feuerstein, I don't know who the fuck he is, laments anti-Semitism and issues with Jewish representation in Hollywood. Let's see what this guy is complaining about. Let's see what kind of made-up anti-Semitism he's going to bitch about today, shall we?
The way anti-Semitism can show up in Hollywood does have some nuance, because it's not always obvious, you know? I'll just share 3 examples. One was my own, and then 2 from friends.
It's got to be horrible, right? Someone's going to throw like a penny at them, tell them, hey, you dirty, like J-word, something like that, right? It's got to be something crazy.
Mine was doing press for a movie. A Jewish reporter shared with me that the publicists of certain Jewish actors would come in before the interview to say, don't ask about their trip to Israel that they took when they were a teenager. Don't ask about their time in Jewish summer camp. And basically just don't raise the issue that they're Jewish. And
what does having to go to Israel have to do with being Jewish necessarily? Oh, I can't mention that I've been to Israel? I'm not allowed to say that I've been to Israel? Holy anti-Semitism, my guy, they're doing you a fucking favor. They're protecting your fucking image because you know what Israel is associated with? Genocide, murdering, colonialism, land theft, Nakba. So yeah, maybe it is best for you not to fucking mention that you've been to Israel. Maybe your publicist actually knows what they're talking about because there's nothing good about going to Israel.
And that's a shame because I'm a proud Jew and I'm always very happy when it comes up to talk about it.
Camp Ramah.
Camp Ramah, yeah, exactly. Whatever it is, I'm happy to. My bar mitzvah. But then there was a friend of mine named Adam Shapiro. He had an experience on the movie Mank, which was directed by David Fincher, where Gary Oldman, who is playing Herman Mankiewicz, great writer, wrote Citizen Kane. And there's a moment, and he's Jewish, and he's delivering a line where he's saying, no, that guy's just a kibitzer. Every take, he just says, no, that guy's just a kibitzer. And Adam Shapiro, my friend, is going, hello, anybody catching that? And he tells David Fincher, who's like, just let it go. And then a couple more takes. No, he's just a kibitzer. And finally, Adam goes up to Gary Oldman, and he's like, hey, Gary, it's kibitzer. Okay, just say kibitzer. And so finally, he got it. But like that goes into another conversation about.
Wait, Atrus, are you getting the notifications? Let me quickly test. Yeah, okay, should be getting notification. I'm just checking if you guys are getting, if the super chats are showing on screen. I don't even know what the fuck this guy's talking about.
About representation and authenticity, which we're not going to solve right now, but it's a subtle thing. And then lastly, my friend Jamie Denbo, who gave me permission to share this with you, is a brilliant comedian, but also a great writer, and was in the writer's room of Grey's Anatomy, where after October 7th, things got real tough for her in that room. A very left-wing room in general, a lot of Free Palestine going on in there. But
a lot of Free Palestine going on in there. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? A lot of Free Palestine in there. You mean like people that actually care about, you know, human lives?
Which is, you know, whatever. But she...
Which is, you know, whatever. Oh my dude, who the fuck is this fucking nobody actor? Who the fuck's this fucking idiot?
He's there pitching stories, great stories, realistic stories about a Jewish character dealing with anti-Semitism, and it just keeps getting pushed aside.
Yeah, no one wants to fucking watch that. No one wants to fucking hear that, you fucking dumbass. Who gives a shit about anti-Semitism when the world's only Jewish majority nation is out there actively doing a genocide in the name of Jewish people? I'm sorry, no one gives a shit about this right now, dude. There are much bigger fucking problems happening than Hollywood anti-Semitism. Jesus fucking Christ. We need to be the victims at all times. How can I make this about me? Poor me. Fuck you. No one gives a shit right now, dude. No one gives a shit. Is anti-Semitism a real problem? Absolutely. Should you be bringing it up in the middle of a fucking genocide? Fuck no. No one cares. Stop fucking Ethan Kleining this shit.
She just cannot get any traction on this. And
fucking self-fund your stupid fucking anti-Semitism movie.
Finally, one day, she was mentoring another writer on the staff, and her mentee pulls her into a room and says, you know that when you talk about Israel, like, that it's an apartheid state. And she says, have you ever been to Jamie?
Okay. Yo, that mentee is fucking smart. That mentee is very smart. She's like, you do know it's an apartheid. Please defend Israel not being an apartheid. I don't want to hear this fucking dumbass. What's his name? Mark Feuerstein. I've never seen this fucking man in my life, guys.
He says, have you ever been to Israel? And this mentee, who's supposed to be looking up to her, goes, no, but I've been to South Africa. And Jamie was like, okay. So she went to HR to report this. Like, she's not just going to sit and take it, you know, willingly. And never, you know, while they had great seminars about LGBTQ issues.
Oh my God, dude. I can't fucking stand this fucking dumbass Zionist piece of shit. By the way, who the fuck wants to visit Israel, my guy? Guys, we all W's in the chat for Marina. Marina just gifted 2 Do Not Worry memberships. Let's fucking go. Marina, thank you so much. Holy shit. Not 1, 2 memberships. Let's fucking go. And Far Twain, since a $2 donor, says H3 peaked at 13,000, average 12,000, end is near. Wait, today? When did they have an episode? Was that a new episode? I'm telling you, they're going to go back to the drama. They're going to go back to the IDUB stuff. They're going to go back to the lawsuit stuff. They're going to go back to the Hassan stuff. Are you kidding me? Was that today, Far Twain? Today's stream?
Issues that were actually really informative and about other marginalized groups. They never brought anyone in to do a seminar on anti-Semitism, and she quit. And she is talking about it right now at the AJC in Washington. And we'll be happy to come anywhere anybody wants her to talk about it.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, dude. Go fuck yourself. Yesterday, holy shit, that's crazy. And yeah, by the way, when she mentioned go to South Africa, it's because it's one of the only recent examples of an apartheid state that has actually been able to reverse course, right? And no longer be an apartheid state. So you should maybe listen to her and go fucking visit South Africa. You fucking idiot. God damn it, dude. Fucking constant victim mentality. So fucking annoying. I just wanted to talk about this really quickly as well. So there's like a flyover. Dramatic video shows U.S. Navy Blue Angels making a low-altitude flyover above Pensacola Beach in Florida on Wednesday. Navy officials confirmed in a statement that Blue Angels leadership is reviewing the circumstances surrounding the maneuver and conducting a thorough safety review. So look at this shit, dude. This is fucking terrifying, man. There's like kids at the beach and shit. There's families. Like, what if anything remotely went wrong? Where do you think that this fucking jet line, where do you think this jet is going to crash into? Okay, this dumbass is happy. This fucking Trump voter is happy right here. You guys are so lucky that these jets aren't used to actually bomb you guys. Like when an Arab person hears this, we know what's coming. We know the sound that usually follows is some kind of an explosion, some detonation going off, some kind of a drone strike, a building, a whole neighborhood being fucking leveled. You guys are lucky that they just fucking fly over, right? Nice, fun time. Fucking machines of death that you send around the world to fucking kill people. I'm glad it's entertainment for Americans. Crazy, dude. So Pete Hegseth says the flyovers will continue until morale improves. Okay, that's nice. Cool. Is this kid enjoying it, buddy? Does his morale seem to be up? Does this little boy's morale seem to be, up? Is he enjoying these flyovers? He seems pretty terrified to me. Looks like he's ready to fucking take a shit right there, man. What's happening here? And look at that. Yeah, the White House puts this up. It's okay to love America, freedom. And yeah, they're like, they have to make it AI. Evan Loves Worf says they made it AI so you don't see the frightened children. Yeah, the real version looks more like this. With kids popping a squat, terrified. As he should be. This is fucking terrifying. Are you kidding me? Bless you, little boy. I'm sorry you had to deal with that shit. I'm sorry your government's fucking stupid as shit. And speaking of stupid as shit, here's Pete Hegseth demanding that U.S. soldiers get on testosterone replacement therapy, folks. TRT, let's go, baby.
At the Department of War, we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits to master the profession of arms. We demand your all, and you give it. But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms, and gear, our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best.
First of all, I think it's normal. Men's usually testosterone levels sort of start dropping in your 40s, in your 50s, etc. And some men do get testosterone replacement therapy when they're a little bit older. But aren't most service members, aren't most U.S. soldiers that are like in active combat in like their 20s and 30s, where you're way too fucking young to be getting fucking testosterone replacement? Are you fucking kidding me? That's gonna have horrible side effects for them later in the future. If you're like in your 50s and your 60s, I think that's fine. But in your 20s and 30s, how old are these active servicemen that you're sending into fucking battle that they need extra fucking testosterone, man? What the fuck?
Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age...
Jerry Riggs Everything from YouTube, I like his comment on the right, says, when your testosterone gets fixed, will you stop wearing makeup?
30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessment. It's a health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy. This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement. It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting...
Just start building cyborgs or shit, dude. Stop injecting young men with fucking testosterone and hormones if they don't fucking need it. They're young, dude. They don't fucking need that shit. Sunflower Dragon sends a $5 dono, says, thank you for standing 10 toes down for victims of sexual assault, Anthony. Well, Sunflower Dragon, very fucking welcome. You don't need to thank me for that. It's the minimum we could do. It's the bare minimum. Thank you so much for your constant support, Sunflower Dragon. You're awesome. Much appreciated. We salute you. Thank you for the generous dono.
Your longevity and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring...
Okay, shit, Sunflower Dragon, I just opened my YouTube studio and I got a notification. You also sent the $10 super chat, Sunflower, on the Ryan Grimm video. That's what you're talking about. Sunflower, you don't need to be... That's too kind, that's too generous for me, just doing the bare minimum of being a regular human being. Okay, thank you. That's a $15 dono. You're crazy. Sunflower Dragon, we love you. Thank you so much. Holy shit, man.
You remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
Dude, like, U.S. veterans have the hardest time getting any care, right? Like, the VA still has a backlog that's like 10 years fucking long. If you've been in the military, good luck getting any medical care. But TRT, testosterone, let's get it now, baby. Woo! You're 20 years old. You need some extra testosterone, baby. Let's fucking go. This is so fucking stupid. And by the way, let's watch Pete Hegseth doing a military training. Oop. Mute. I think he's the one who needs. He's just projecting. Look at that. Full extension. That doesn't count. You got to fully extend those arms. That's horrible form, Pete Hegseth. But look at how he kicks his leg. Oh my God, dude. Holy shit. Yo, that's pathetic, man. That's fucking pathetic. Dude, come on, man. I have to do similar shit when I do my boxing training and my boxing circuits. This is holy fuck, dude. Horrible form. Horrible fucking form. You fucking coward. Look at that guy, dude. Dude, he's struggling. Oh my God. Full extension, dude. You got to go all the way up. All the way up or else it doesn't count. All the way up or else it does not count. What the fuck? Yo, I'm so glad I was able to open I saw that super chat right now, Sunflower Dragon. I'm able to thank you for that other one. What the fuck? And just some more insane shit that I saw before we get into the neurodrotic video. Time's it now? 3:50. Okay, I'm still okay on time. So this guy is running for Wyoming's only seat in the U.S. House, and he's a real-life cartoon. One of his main priorities is to ban Sharia law. For context, there are less than 300 Muslims in the entire state of Wyoming. Holy shit, dude. Look at this chud, folks. Me on the way to ban Sharia law. Oh my God, dude. Americans are too much, dude. Americans are too fucking funny, man. What is this, dude? You're so fucking sad. I just quickly want to... No. You will get us demonetized. I just quickly want to see... I want to look up TRT real quick. Testosterone therapy, potential benefits and risks as you age. As you age, TRT therapy might sound promising, but there are a lot of misconceptions about what the treatment can and can't do for you. What is testosterone? Testosterone is a hormone produced primarily in the testicles. Testosterone helps maintain men's bone density, fat distribution, muscle strength and mass, facial and body hair, red blood cell reproduction, sex drive, and sperm production. That's, oh, fuck. Fuck, why? Come on, man. Shit, dude. Fucking penis on the screen. Sorry, guys. Trigger warning. I did not know they were going to go full frontal with this shit. Fuck, dude. This video is going to get age restricted. Fuck. Shit. Yo, guys, my bad. my bad. Dude, we're getting age restricted. Fuck. God damn it, dude. What the fuck is this? At least give me a fucking warning. Okay, let me look. Let me screen this for more penises. Okay, there's no more penises coming. Sorry, guys. My bad. No one report this video. If you guys report me, I'm banned. We'll keep this between ourselves, okay? Shh. So what are the risks of testosterone therapy for normal aging? Worsening sleep apnea, causing acne or other skin conditions, stimulating non-cancerous growth of the prostate. Fuck, benign prostatic hyperplasia and growth of existing prostate cancer. Holy shit, enlarging breasts. That's why Pete Hegseth wants them to take testosterone. Increasing breast size. Okay, limiting sperm production or causing testicles to shrink. He wants to give this to a bunch of young people, man. Stimulating too much red blood cell production, which contributes to the increased risk of forming a blood clot. Oh my God, dude. You're slamming your soldiers with blood clots? You want increased heart attacks? A clot could break loose, travel through your bloodstream, and lodge in your lungs, blocking blood flow. Holy shit, dude. All of that so they can do a few more fucking push-ups? Holy fuck. Marina with the $5 dono. Thank you so much, Marina. That's way too kind and way too generous. Says, only if all these elites minded their own business and weren't so egotistical and filled with gluttony, the world would be at peace. Fuck this shit. Exactly right. We don't even need to fucking go to war and inject young soldiers with Plus, I mean, look, in my opinion, fuck the military, so they can inject themselves with whatever the fuck they want. You want to go to war? You want to play tough? You want to go kill people in third world countries? Get all the experimental injections you want. Enjoy. But speaking of the Sharia law thing, okay? Speaking of that, guys, like, I'm going to go I'm going to ban Sharia law. Look at this. I think this is real, right? Look at this. A plane in the United States was forced to land after the sound of the adhan was heard from a passenger's phone. The adhan is the call to prayer, the Muslim call to prayer. Right? You'll hear like a voice. They'll usually have them on loudspeakers. There's someone, a muezzin, I think that's what they call the muezzin. He's at the mosque. He'll start reciting the adhan, which is played on speakers, and it's the call to prayer, right? It's that kind of thing that you hear. Beautiful. It sounds quite nice. So someone had like a prayer app on his phone, and it went off, and it started reciting the adhan, and people freaked the fuck out so much, dude. Americans are so fucking paranoid about Islam and praying and the word Allah. Look at this. You had the police rush the airplane to get the passenger off. A Southwest Airlines flight traveling from Tennessee to Florida was forced to make an emergency landing in Atlanta. Upon landing, a SWAT team boarded the aircraft and detained one of the passengers, accusing him of terrorism and posing a bomb threat. It was later revealed that the detained passenger was a Muslim. During the flight, his prayer time app activated and played the adhan, the Islamic call to prayer. The crew reportedly interpreted the sound as a potential security threat, notified dispatchers, and decided to make an emergency landing. What the fuck is this, dude? Look at this, man. And I was like, is this AI? Like, I wasn't sure. Like, I'm still not convinced this isn't AI just because of how everyone's, like, acting.
Stand up. Stand up.
Like, who's yelling? There's people, like, screaming in the back. Chris sends a $2 donut. Chris, by the way, folks, just got back from watching the Odyssey. The Odyssey. Says, can you scroll up again? I think you skipped something. Chris, I know you would love to see that. I'll bring you my gripper cup. You can look at that if you guys want. This is just crazy. This is just crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, this is the, like, again, is this 2002? Is it 2003? What the fuck is going on here, man? America has had 25 years since fucking 9/11 to, like, get used to the idea of Islam, a Muslim prayer, adhan, what the fuck is happening here, man? Jesus fucking Christ. A man can't even pray on a plane in fucking peace. Do you know what they do? Like, when I went to Saudi Arabia for work a few years ago, they literally play. They pray on the plane, like, instead of, you know, the on the screen where they show you, like, what you need to do in case there's an emergency. These security videos, they literally stop for like 5 minutes and they recite a prayer before the plane even flies. These fucking American passengers would freak the fuck out. They'll throw themselves out the plane. Holy shit, we're all gonna die. They'll throw themselves out the plane for simply praying. And I just remembered that, actually. Anytime you travel to a Muslim country or a Muslim majority country, they will there's a prayer at the beginning of the flight, just like to bless the flight, to make sure everybody gets there safe. I'm not even religious. I'm technically Christian. I'm not religious. And I find it kind of like sweet and endearing. Like if it makes someone on the plane feel a little better to know that God is by their side and is going to watch over them as they fly. Hey, more power to you. I usually just shut my eyes and I fucking zone out. You know what I mean? Just crazy, 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 crazy. And trust me, I have my complaints about Saudi Arabia, many complaints. I don't like that. It's not a country that I particularly like, or at least the government and a lot of the things that they do. But like the prayer on the way, on the plane, it's kind of endearing. It's kind of nice. You know what I mean? It gets you, it immerses you in the culture. It's just kind of crazy. Anyways, what else? What is it? Ooh, a quick little thing. Chuck Schumer farting in the Senate. Let's go.
Now on Iran and the NDAA. The American people need to know, of course, how and why this complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration can say...
That motherfucker farted. That motherfucker had a salad. That motherfucker has explosive diarrhea. He just had a fucking salad from Taco Bell, and he's about to shit all over the Senate floor. This is what just happened to this motherfucker, dude. Stop. Can we stop with the old dying politicians farting and shitting themselves all fucking day in the Senate? Him, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. There was this news story from like a year or two ago. There was a pharmacist that said, if only you knew how many U.S. congressmen and Senate members come in for dementia medication, you guys would not fucking believe it. Half of the U.S. Senate, half of the U.S. Congress, dude, are a bunch of fucking geriatric motherfuckers shitting, farting themselves, wearing fucking adult diapers. They don't know where the fuck they are. They don't even read the policies. They make their staffers read everything. They don't know shit, dude. No wonder America's in the fucking shithole, man. No wonder it's in the shitter. Literally, with these fucking guys farting everywhere. Okay. With all that down, let us move on to we're going to watch Piers Morgan. It's time, right? Do I have anything else? Oh, by the way, for all you Lebanese, for anyone who's curious, I don't know when to talk about this. Dr. Food has been arrested for drugs in Lebanon, like forever. He's been sentenced to like life in prison. Dr. Food, our food influencer, the guy that we've covered many, many fucking times, is literally about to go to fucking jail for mass producing drugs in his wafer factory. American influencers could never. American influencers could never, man. Y'all ain't got nothing on Dr. Food. Look at that, dude. I'm just going to show you the picture, and then we'll try to cover this in more detail. I want to get some more information about it later. But, like, look at this. الحكم المؤبد المؤبد. Forever, dude. Dr. Food has been sentenced to life in prison for drug manufacturing in Lebanon. His wafers factory, by the way, I still own his 3 original wafers. They're in my freezer. Motherfucker has been producing drugs and is going to jail for life. That's what you get when you have Lebanese influencers. I don't know yet. I don't know. But this is fucking hilarious. Sarah's asking, Anthony, Sarah, I used to love Wild Willie. I used to get all my toys from Wild Willie. Isn't this crazy? I have a couple of videos too, man. Okay, you guys want to see a quick video? Let's see a quick video. It's gonna be in Arabic, but like he's like yelling at the TV. He's like, I'm innocent. Dude, I can't believe I'm not in Lebanon for this. I can't believe I'm not in Lebanon for this. Look at this. So to me, when someone accuses me of something I 100% did.
انت واحد كذاب اوكي انت واحد كذاب انت ما لك
He's saying this guy's a liar. He's like, this guy's a fucking liar. He's been paid money to lie about me.
لا تطلع تحكي هذا الشيء انا معي كل الاثباتات ولكن انا عندي ثقه بالقضاء.
He's like, I have all the evidence I need, but I have total faith in the legal system.
انا عبر محاميه كل الادله معي اياها لتروح على الاتهاميه.
He's like, I have lawyers. I have all the proof I need to clear my name.
انا مني مضطر اعرضها هلا على الاعلام ولكن هذا واحد كذاب.
He's like, I don't have to show you my evidence right now on fucking TikTok or on the news, but this motherfucker there is a liar.
هذا مرتشي هذا مدفع له مصاري لحكي هذا الشيء وانا بثبت لكم هذا الشيء عكس الكلام الكل قال هذا الكلام.
He said this guy who's talking shit about me has been paid money to say this and to spread mistruths. I can prove my innocence. And he's just been convicted to prison. Holy shit, dude. I want to try to get some more information, and I'll do a whole reportage on the Dr. Food situation. That's going to be fucking crazy, dude. That I can't, like, it's fucking, like, it's insane. This is unhinged, folks. Dr. Food was selling wafers to kids. All of those products that they were making were targeted at fucking children. He has like an AI type of wafer too. God, he's so fucking stupid. And this was them just like a few days ago after the Morocco game. Look at that, making content.
أشرف حكيمي أطيب أكلة عنده الكسكس المغربي.
كليان مابي أطيب أكلة عنده هي الدجاج مشوي.
وأكيد المغرب حتربح.
أكيد فرنسا.
تعالوا ندوق الكسكس المغربي.
أشرف حكيمي بياكل كل يوم جمعة كسكس مغربي عند أمه.
لا شيء يضاهي.
To be honest with you, he kind of looks like he's on cocaine. Now that we know what's up, he kind of looks like he might be on cocaine. He's so angry. Look at that. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, he's definitely on something.
أشرف حكيمي أطيب أكلة عنده الكسكس المغربي.
كليان مابي أطيب أكلة عنده هي الدجاج مشوي.
وأكيد المغرب حتربح.
Fuck, look at his eyeballs, dude. He's on something.
أكيد فرنسا.
تعالوا ندوق الكسكس المغربي.
أشرف حكيمي بياكل كل يوم جمعة كسكس مغربي عند أمه.
لا شيء يضاهي الكسكس المغربي. وجبة متكاملة، لحم، خضرة، كسكس.
والدجاج في بقلبه بروتين، صلصة حمراء وبطاطا.
Oh shit, yeah, dude. Look at his eyelids, man. Look at his pupils. Does this man look sober to you? By the way, I've interacted with Dr. Food. He's been on one of my TikTok lives, and then he was like, hey, if you want to interview me, here's my phone number. And I've tried to call, that was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I tried to call that phone number like a few months ago. Disabled, can't even reach him. I wish I interviewed him and his wife when I had the chance. I wish I made a documentary about Dr. Food and his wife, dude. That would have been the fucking greatest. Yo, man. You know what? I'm going to do the Dr. Food interview from prison. I am going to interview Dr. Food from prison. If they're going to trust anyone with this kind of shit, dude, it's me, all right? I did the Joseph Shada documentary. I did Kung Fu Jesus, all right? I am Lebanon's most acclaimed influencer documentarian, okay? I have made all the groundbreaking documentaries. So if they're going to let anyone go to prison and interview Dr. Food from inside of a jail cell, I'm going to be the motherfucking guy, okay? And Dr. Food, we're going to prove your innocence, okay? I know you're innocent. People can claim that he's been manufacturing drugs in that factory. I know he's innocent, okay? I'm just kidding about him looking drugged up right now. He is an innocent man. Look at those eyes. Can I zoom in? No. These are the eyes of an innocent man, okay? Dr. Food, Mata Talham, I will prove your innocence. You've done nothing wrong. You would never manufacture drugs, especially not in a wafer factory that is intended to sell products for kids. I will get you off, okay? Not like that. No, I'm not going to get you off. Not in prison. I'm going to get you off those charges. That's what's going to happen. Dr. Food.
فيها لحمة وفيها خضرة أهم من فرنسا فيها زبيب وحمص
لازم ندوق كسكس كوسة وبطاطا جزر ولحمة كل هالاشياء وما فيها صلصة.
I like couscous with chicken. I'm a couscous. The food's so nice they named it twice, but I eat my couscous with chicken.
يعني شوف هذا فريق منظم.
كل شيء جسمك محتاج.
Also, not enough sauce. Not nearly enough sauce. Your couscous already absorbs all the sauce. You gotta have a lot more sauce on this thing, man. It looks dry.
بتنصح طيب كتير.
ندوق الكسكس أول شيء. كسكس منكه صراحة. طيب كيف؟
مفيدة ما في عندك أمل تربح.
قوم إذا ذوقك دجاج مشوي مثل ما بيحبها كليان مابي هيكون أفضل من هذا نربح بالليلة.
دجاج مش.
Dude, his eyes. Oh my God, Dr. Food, come on, man. Yeah, he's definitely on something. Shit. Come on, man. You can't be looking like that. You can't be looking like that. Okay, one second. Let me tell. Guys, we need to get some contact information so that we can go interview Dr. Food in prison, okay? I'm going to be the one to interview him from prison. So everybody get to work on getting us Shurut's phone number and let us start scheduling an interview with Dr. Food, the prison interview. Who else is going to do it other than us? All right. By the way, I sent shit to the group chat. No one fucking answers me. No one fucking answers me. Okay, Dr. Food, that's enough. That's enough. We got more important shit to move on to. We got barely have time to stream today. We have a Piers Morgan episode to watch and react to. But yeah, folks, Dr. Food going to jail forever. He's the second Lebanese influencer, by the way, who's been arrested. We had the Jovi from Hair Zone, who was a fucking pedophile. Fuck, dude. God, I hope they don't put them in the same jail cell. That's going to be fucking crazy. Okay. Let me quickly open up my other thing. All right, let's open up the nerdrotic thing. Let's talk about the Odyssey. All right, computer's starting to overheat a little bit, but we should still be okay. We should still be okay. By the way, I'm going to be watching the Odyssey on the 22nd. This is what it's basically going to look like. This is the difference between the full 1:43 aspect ratio of IMAX versus like a regular movie theater. So this is how I'm going to be watching it. Come on. Versus how I guess most people are going to watch it. Which is kind of honestly the same thing. You're just missing out on like the top and the bottom. Like you're just not going to see people's hair. You're not going to see the sky. You're not going to see the rest of their helmet, and you're not going to see like their torso or their tummy. Whatever everything that's in frame is what you have to see. So I know people are like feeling bad, and I'm just like I was teasing Chris on WhatsApp. Like, are you going to watch it in the regular version? It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, like ultimately, who gives a shit if you see the guy's helmet or not? Right? I mean, look at this. It's just more immersive. You just get to see more of the screen, okay? You get to see more of the frame. Everything that they shot, I'm going to get to see. Chris, the poor peasant, had to go watch it. But Chris, it's not your fault. We have one IMAX screen in Lebanon, and it's LIMAX. It's not even the real IMAX. So we have most IMAX screens in America are the same as the one Chris watched it at today. There's around 80 screens worldwide that can show the movie in this aspect ratio. Around 80. Around the globe, not even just in America. 80 screens, not even theaters, just 80 screens that can show the film in its intended format. Okay, so like I'm going to be in the minority of people that gets to watch it in that aspect ratio. Everyone else is going to see it this way. Okay, now allow me, again, you guys know I'm an IMAX snob. Okay, and this would be the third film I watch in this very theater. I've seen The Dark Knight Rises in that theater. I've seen Interstellar in that theater. And on the 22nd, I'm going to be watching the fucking Odyssey in that theater. And I'm so fucking pumped. I am so fucking excited. Holy shit. And my sister's coming with me, so she's going to get to experience that shit with me. God damn, dude. So I'm going to be in like the top 5% of people who have seen that movie in the correct aspect ratio. Mwah. Yeah, Chris, you didn't like it because you saw it in the shitty IMAX. That's why. I'm kidding. We love you, Chris. I miss you guys. I miss all y'all. Also, real quick, look at that. Asmongold is now angry that the Odyssey is getting positive reviews, that he's turning against critics. He says, I don't think it's a great thing that critics are able to preemptively manufacture a consensus on media like this, especially when this movie has so many hot-button social issues tied to it that critics refuse to address. Critics now offer propaganda rather than insight. Funny you should say that, you dumb motherfucker, because he's been making videos like this for the past few months. Oh, no. Hollywood is panicking. It's over. The whole internet rejected this. So he's doing the exact same thing that he's accusing film critics of doing. He's the one who's been building a narrative, him and his fucking idiot friends like Nerdrotic, FNT, the pronouns guy, all these fucking idiots. They have been fucking shitting about this movie and crying about it for fucking months, just like they've been doing about fucking Supergirl and all that bullshit. So now that it's at like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's going to open to $200 million worldwide. Everybody's calling it a fucking masterpiece. It's going to make so much fucking money. I can't wait to fucking see it. And they're just angry. So now they have to cope. Now they're going to cope. And now there's a lot of them online talking about how it's actually not selling tickets. They're faking screenshots of like movie theaters and like how many tickets are left and have been unsold. It's fucking pathetic. It's so fucking sad, dude. And by the way, you guys want to see something funny? Kevin Sorbo, the guy who used to play Hercules back in the day, will turn out to be like a massive fucking racist. So look at that tweet that he put out. Look at this fucking dumbass. Let me cut back to the desktop. So this is fucking Kevin Sorbo. This is a Hollywood actor, bro. I mean, he hasn't worked in a Hollywood production in a while. He makes like his own little shitty Christian movies. He says, Helen of Troy, 2026 Odyssey. I wish I was joking. And he shares a picture of Lupita Nyong'o looking angry or something. So apparently she's disgusting, right? She's ugly because she's black, according to this man. So here's what I tweeted at him. I'm like, hey, Kevin, I remember taking a photo with you at AwesomeCon in DC in 2014. I want my $20 back, you racist fuck. Look at that. And for proof, if y'all don't believe me, you guys want proof? You want to see the photo that I took with Kevin Sorbo in 2014 at AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C.? In 2014, I'll tell you the fucking story, dude. When I walked up to Kevin Sorbo, I had no idea he was a racist piece of shit back then. I was like, oh, look, Hercules. I used to watch Hercules when I was a kid. Can I take a photo? And yeah, it was like a $20 photo with the motherfucker. So I walk up to him. I'm like, hey, can I take a picture? He's like, yeah, of course. He had this like manager with him. So they're like, $20. I'm like, okay. So I give him $20 and then he gives it to his manager. His manager was wearing like a little fanny pack, just putting the $20 in there. Like, how fucking pathetic. You know what I mean? But like, anyways. So... And I walk up to Kevin Sorbo. I'm like, hey, by the way, like, I'm Lebanese. You have a lot of fans in Lebanon. I was just fucking saying that to make conversation. I'm like, yeah, because a lot of my friends, when we were kids, we used to watch Hercules. I'm like, hey, I'm from Lebanon. You know, you have a lot of fans in Lebanon. You'd be surprised. He's like, oh, really? My landlord's Lebanese. Now, I didn't say anything at the time, but I was like, you have a landlord? Like, aren't you fucking rich? Why are you renting like a condo or some shit? Dude, what do you mean your landlord's Lebanese? I'm like, aren't you like rich and successful? And by the way, you see how shitty this picture is? You know why? Because they fucking took my phone. Like, I gave them the $20 for the picture. They didn't have, like, a fucking professional photographer set up. Like, when I went to Comic-Con and I took a picture with Giancarlo Esposito or with Carl Urban, there was a professional camera set up with a background, lighting, you know what I mean? Like, they took a fucking photo. They got to give me the actual print of the picture. They sent it to me by email. This motherfucker took my cell phone. His manager, who put the $20 in his fanny pack, grabbed my... I think I had like the Note 4 at the time, like the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. Like, look at how shitty the picture is, dude. He just took my own phone, snapped the picture, and gave it back to me. Like, what a fucking shitty experience, dude. At least if someone's gonna pay you $20 for a shitty fucking picture, you motherfucker, at least take it with a professional photographer. But at least I helped him pay his rent, right? At least I helped this broke motherfucker pay his rent. My landlord's Lebanese. I was like, your landlord? Why do you have a landlord? I have a landlord. I'm poor. I have to rent. Why do you have a landlord? Aren't you rich? Don't you get residuals from Hercules or some shit? Apparently not. So yeah, Kevin Sorbo, shut the fuck up and I want my $20 back, you fucking motherfucker. Give me my money back, you racist fuck. Would be nice if I could ratio him. I doubt. I didn't even know that the tweet had 70 likes or something. It got some responses. Fuck. I don't even, let me see. Well, fuck you, you Arab piece of shit. Let's see what the replies are saying. This is a Marshall. Bold of you to think he has $20. Okay, that's funny. We got Andrea Joan, friend of the show, by the way. There she is. She says, bold of you to think he has $20 to spare at this point in his life. Oh my God, dude. That's fucking funny. So yeah. Kevin, I haven't forgotten. I want my $20 back. I don't care. I want it back. Anyways, let's watch what these idiots have to say. By the way, again, I've recently beefed with Nerdrotic. Fuck this guy. He called me a Durka terrorist, whatever the fuck. They made me as a terrorist on their thumbnail. And I called him Papa Incel. He loves my nickname so much that it is now in his official Twitter bio. He calls himself Papa Incel. Isn't that funny? Okay, let's watch these idiots complaining.
The Odyssey is this.
This guy's called the Critical Drinker. Also, racist piece of shit. Same as all these other fuckers.
Epic fantasy story, but it's fantasy grounded in the real world. It's set within a very specific geographical location and time.
It partakes of a trend that we have seen in recent years to sort of, let's call it, de-heroize Odysseus.
The reason I smirked was because there's a long history in Hollywood of white people playing characters that should be black people. I mean, Charlton Heston as Moses was kind of wild.
We're trying to challenge traditional beliefs. Well, that's something Christopher Nolan doesn't usually do. This is a game he doesn't usually play.
To make this national epic, which the Greek people feel is a continuous tradition from the 7th, 8th century.
What's happening with my computer? What is happening here? And by the way, why the fuck is Piers Morgan inviting these fucking idiots onto his show? Like, way to fucking legitimize these racist fucking freaks on your fucking show and giving them a platform. Like, what the fuck, man? And are all the people I'm beefing with, half of them have been guests on the Piers Morgan show at this point. What in the hell?
And not have a single Greek is kind of jarring when you go out of your way to get other people who would cause controversy and sometimes in a subversive manner.
Is it better for your business model if this is a massive turkey or a massive hit? With the notable exception of Top Gun Maverick, there's no longer such a thing as an epic blockbuster with no strings attached. Christopher Nolan's the...
All right, sorry, what the fuck is happening here?
Odyssey, based on Homer's sprawling poem, is one of the biggest and most anticipated movies of the year. It's therefore no surprise that its release this week has been marred by furious debate about its historical accuracy, its colourblind casting, and its reputedly feminist undertones. Critics say it's Snow White on steroids, a beloved classic shattered by the woke wrecking ball of
What critics? No critics are saying that, by the way. I'm sorry, Nerdrotic and The Critical Drinker, these two fucking YouTube incels. Okay, he's married and has a kid. I don't give a shit if Gary Beekler, the fucking ex-heroin dealer to kids, is married. His whole fucking audience is a fucking incel audience that has never fucking touched a breast in their fucking life.
Hollywood. This time they argue it's gone too far. The victims of the alleged woke washing are not merely fictional dwarf helpers, but the characters of a foundational text in the grand sweep of Western civilization. But are they missing the point? Isn't Hollywood's role to reflect the changing world around us and not simply parrot the legends of ancient history? We have not one but two epic panels to debate this, beginning with the classics. Well, Daniel Mendelsohn is a scholar, critic, and best-selling author of an Odyssey, a father, a son, and an epic. His translation of Homer's poem was published this spring in paperback. A.M. Wilson is a novelist, biographer, and journalist, also the father of Emily Wilson, whose feminist translation of the Odyssey is said to be the basis of Christopher Nolan's new movie. But first, let's talk to the historian and senior fellow at the Hoover Institute, Victor Davis Hanson. Victor, great to see you. Great to have you back on Uncensored. What's your beef with the Odyssey?
It's kind of a minor one. I think that I thought, because that is considered the national epic of the Greek.
So this guy's a historian and senior fellow at the Hoover Institute. All right, let's see. What's your beef, old white man?
People, it might have been magnanimous of Christopher Lloyd to include someone in the tradition of Irene Pappas or Melina Mercury, a Greek-American actor.
And like, by the way, for example, like before we even get into this, I have been pretty consistent on this. If people want to complain about the casting in the Odyssey, you have to be just as, if you want to be critical about Lupita Nyong'o being cast as Helen of Troy, oh, why is a black woman in the story? Or they're upset that a trans man, Elliot Page, has been cast in the film. None of these people have complained that there isn't a single Greek actor. They might talk about it in this video because they're going to get called out on it. But for the longest time, all of their videos, they've only been targeting Lupita Nyong'o for being black and Elliot Page for being trans. None of them have... I'm like, the only offensive thing in this film is that there's not a single Greek actor. That's what I find fucking weird. Like, none of them are complaining that Matt Damon's a white guy playing Odysseus. No one's complaining that Tom Holland's a white guy, that Robert Pattinson's a white guy, that the whole cast are white people. No one's complaining about that. Everyone's only pointing out Lupita Nyong'o, Elliot Page, and John Leguizamo from time to time because he's Latino, right? That's it. Now, they're going to be forced to talk about the fact that they're not Greek. I saw a little clip on Twitter. But other than that, like, to me, that's a fair criticism. Not even one Greek actor. Just to say that you had a Greek actor just to honor the fucking source material. To me, that's a little strange. You know what I'm saying? But like, hey, if you're going to complain about Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page and John Leguizamo, you better be fucking complaining about Matt Damon. You better be fucking complaining about Anne Hathaway. You better be complaining about all of the white actors that have been cast in this fucking film. Do you understand? So, because they've only been complaining about the black actor, the trans actor, and the Latino actor, I don't take their criticism seriously. I don't take it fucking seriously at all. And I, for one, am excited to just be fucking swept away in this picture. I don't care who they cast, okay?
The whole idea of cultural appropriation is very controversial. I have no problem with a character in a playing a role that the original author did not really envision, as long as it's symmetrical. And by that I mean, if you want to wear dreadlocks and you're white, that's fine. If you want to wear a blonde wig and you're black, that's fine, just so it's reciprocal. The only problem is when the character is so far off from what the author intended that it affects the narrative. So I don't think it would be wise to make a movie with a white Martin Luther King bio or a black Abraham Lincoln. It'd be too jarring. But I have no problem that he's using an African-American...
By the way, Helen of Troy is not a real person. Helen of Troy, according to legend, hatched out of an egg. So I don't know what kind of history you're talking about here, but how many human beings do you know that hatch out of eggs? I'll wait. Go on and tell me, Mr. Historian.
Character for Helen and Clytemnestra, or they're two characters. They were mythologically sisters, so there's no problem there. Zorba the Greek was played by a Mexican-American actor, Anthony Quinn. He did a brilliant job. It's only when it's so jarring that it's deliberately interrupts the narrative in a way that it's almost impossible to follow.
So this guy's saying as soon as he sees Lupita Nyong'o, it's going to take him out of the film. Oh, I can't. It's so jarring to me. What? How is she black? How did she get there? By boat? How did she travel there? I can't. It's taking me out of the movie. It's breaking the immersion. Please, show me the whites on screen again. Show me the whites. I can't do this. No, especially not in IMAX. She's so huge. Look at Lupita. She's taken my whole vision. I can't see nothing but a black person. Oh no. Shut the fuck up, you racist fuckers. Just say it. We don't want to see black people in a movie. Because even if you think they give a shit, you think this, because this is based on some kind of like legendary poem that's why they're upset, they complain about black actors all the time. They complain about trans actors all the time. They're just fucking bigots. They're just fucking bigots who like to manufacture fucking controversies to get super chats out of their fucking angry chud audience to get that AdSense money. There's a fucking critic who hangs out with these fuckers that just saw the movie. He's one of like 3 critics who gave it a negative review because he's been shitting about this movie for months. He's not allowed to like it. They're not allowed to like it because if they've been making videos like the Odyssey's woke, the Odyssey's woke, the Odyssey's woke for 6 months, can you imagine them walking out of the theater being like, well, I actually liked it? Of course they can. Their audience would eat them alive. Their audience would eat them alive. They have to hate the movie because they got to get the super chats. They got to get the AdSense. If they say, well, I kind of liked it, they're going to call them a shill. Like, oh, you're a fucking woke shill now. That's what's going to fucking happen. So they have to hate this stuff, man. It's so transparent and easy to see. Aitor sends another dono. It says, do people realize that historians whitewashed Greek history to claim that Caucasians are superior? Look at the Greeks, look at the Romans. Exactly. And as if like there's like no diversity in Greece as well, right?
It's a character deviation, or, you know, if somebody has one arm and the character has 2 arms, but the Greeks were very tolerant of, and I don't really think that they had a notion of racial distinctions like we do. The Ethiopians are described by Homer elsewhere as the most noble of all people. So it's not. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it'll affect the reception of that character, and whether Helen and Clytemnestra are well acted, or whether they enhance or detract from the narrative or the film adaptation. It will depend on the quality of the performance.
Yorgos Lanthimos should have directed the movie, but no, he shouldn't have, because he wouldn't have made the movie. The only reason this movie's even being made is because Christopher Nolan has the pull and he has the name to justify the budget for this movie and to make sure that the movie makes its money back. If Yorgos Lanthimos tried to make the Odyssey, it never would have gotten funded. 100%. Christopher Nolan used his cachet, used the clout he got after making Oppenheimer, which almost made $1 billion, a black and white biopic about a fucking guy, about a fucking scientist with no action scenes, with nothing, made almost $1 billion at the box office. He got the clout, he fucking cashed that check and decided to make the Odyssey. The only reason you're getting an Odyssey movie is because Christopher Nolan wanted to make it. So it's not like a studio decided to make the Odyssey and then they picked Christopher Nolan to direct it. He wanted to make this movie. He chose it as his next project. So no one else could have made this movie, at least not in the way that Christopher Nolan makes them. Almost zero visual effects. He tries to get everything in camera. That's why I'm so excited to watch it, because when you see a ship in the ocean in the Odyssey, it's an actual ship in an actual ocean. Some of the actors were throwing up because they were getting seasick. Every other movie nowadays would use green screen. Christopher Nolan fucking put those fuckers on a boat in the middle of the ocean. You know what I mean? They went to actual Greek caves, ancient caves in Greece to film like the Cyclops scene. They actually built the fucking giant Trojan horse. They put the actors inside the Trojan horse. It was in the middle of the water. Like, everything is done for real as much as they can. So that's what I'm excited to see, even if the movie is a little bit, because I've always found Christopher Nolan movies to be a little bit emotionally like empty. Like, you never really feel like any of the characters are actual human beings. I've never like teared up in a Christopher Nolan movie. I've never gotten sad or anything, but I watch them because of like, it's peak verisimilitude. It is peak fucking just realism. And to be able to watch all of the stuff being done in camera, like, he's not going to use digital extras. He's not going to make an army look bigger with like fake characters. If you see 1,000 people running on screen in a Christopher Nolan movie, that's because there are 1,000 people running on screen. There were 1,000 extras running around. So that's why I want to see the Odyssey. That's why I'm so excited to see it, and on the biggest fucking screen possible. That's what makes me excited.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that what has caught most attention, and I think you have a view about this, is that Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Helen of Troy, she gave a recent press interview in which she seemed to criticize Homer for the lack of time he gave to women in his original work, instead choosing to tell the story from the masculine side, as she put it. Let's take a look.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with them? Okay.
And then do you lean forward and look at him like that?
Yes, like, remember us?
Now, at the premiere of the movie, Samantha Morton, who plays the Greek goddess and sorceress Circe, took the opportunity to reinforce the idea that this was a feminist reimagining of the mythical story. Let's take a look at that.
In history, women have been vilified, whether you're a midwife, whether you're, a herbalist, whether you're a healer, whether you're just in tune with the moon. Like, women have just been vilified throughout history, and I think that was my take on it. But also, Chris's interpretation of the original text and then kind of condensing it into this essential oil of Circe was phenomenal. And I just worked from the text. It was all there for me.
So basically, I think the modern vernacular would be Homer was a bit of a sexist pig. He made it all about men. And this film redresses the balance to make it actually more equal in terms of gender presence.
I'm not sure that's accurate.
That's my vernacular version.
Yeah, Lupita, she admitted that she had never read the Odyssey as an undergraduate or graduate. I don't know how you can do that in today's education at Hampshire and Yale, but so if she had read it.
I've never read the Odyssey. It was never required reading at school. I'm super down to read it. I started reading the Iliad. Demi has a copy of the Iliad, which I started reading, but then I got super lost, and then I was like, oh, this is a sequel to the Odyssey. So I was supposed to read the Odyssey first and then the Iliad, if I'm not mistaken. So I've not read it either. I'm going in there. I'm going to be like, I know the beats of the story. Who doesn't? But I've never read the full fucking text, so I don't know thematically the whole thing, what it's about. Like, I know, yeah, they go there, then there's a Cyclops, and then there's this, and then there's, I know some of the basics.
I think she had thought about it for a long time. It's one of the most pro-feminist works of Greek literature. And it's really the seminal work because Homer is contiguous with the rise of the Greek city-state. And if you look, there's every aspect.
Yo, Haley, how's it going? What up, Haley?
Of womanhood in that play. There's the loyal, crafty, brilliant Penelope who saves the kingdom while Odysseus is gallivanting around or is enduring all of these perils. She outwits these men. You've got Circe, who's sort of reifies the idea that men can be pigs by actually turning them into pigs. She's all powerful. You have Athena, kind of the Parthenos, the virgin goddess, but she's also the goddess of wisdom. She's the most stable of all the Greek gods, and in some cases the most powerful. She's the person who allows Odysseus to get home. You've got Calypso, who kind of has created her own area where she defines her own sexuality. Then you've got, even in...
so the Iliad precedes the Odyssey. Okay, so I tried reading the Odyssey, and then was a bit confused because I'm like, I need to read the Iliad first. Okay, so that's what happened. I started reading the Odyssey, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing some context because they were name-dropping so many characters, so many events. I was like, I think I should read something else before this. And she was like, oh yeah, you need to read the Iliad first. So I was like, oh, okay. So then I stopped reading the Odyssey because I'm like, I'm going to have to read the Iliad first, and then I'll read the Odyssey.
You've got Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, and her sort of nefarious sister, Clytemnestra. So you've got almost every type of expression, whether it's domestic or single or divine, in that epic. And then you even have the monstrous women, the Scylla and the Sirens, who are all powerful and kind of evil. So the main character is a male, but most of the males don't end up well or are not portrayed well, whether it's the 102 suitors or it's the crew of Odysseus that always breaks his advice to be moderate and temperate and not offend the gods, and they all end up dying, or it's the weak-kneed Menelaus, or it's the haughty but not very talented Agamemnon. So it's, I would say for that period it was probably composed somewhere orally around 700 to 675. That was one of the most enlightened works of Western literature in the history of Western literature. So I didn't understand the criticism of the actresses, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
Well, let's bring in some of our other guests, A.M. Wilson and Daniel Mendelsohn, to start with. Well, A.M. Wilson, your own daughter, Emily, wrote what people have perceived to be a kind of feminist translation of the Odyssey. Do you recognise that characterisation? I mean, from what Victor was just saying, it sounds like it didn't particularly need feminising, but what is your view?
Well, I wouldn't wish to speak for Emily, whom I adore and admire, but the last speaker, Victor, was bang on right. This is a book very largely about females, and after all, don't forget the whole war broke out, partly because...
I love how you have a panel of 4 old white dudes be like, well, of course, it was all about females. It did not need any updates. Well, how about we get a woman's perspective? Why don't you have a woman on your fucking panel, dude? What the fuck? Are there no female scholars? Are there no female historians or Greek scholars that would like to maybe give their opinion? Look at these 4 white dudes. Well, of course, it's a woman. It's a story centered around women. How dare these women claim that it is not sufficiently about women? Like, oh, thank you for your opinions. What is the average age of this panel? 78? What is going on here, man? What the fuck? Chris says the American accent was so weird in the movie. Well, Chris, yeah, we knew that as soon as the trailer came out and Tom Holland was like, my dad's coming back We all kind of laughed at that, right? My dad. I want my dad to come back. My dad. Like, what do you mean, dad? Say father, man. Yeah, it should have been. Look, they should have had British accents, in my opinion. Okay, but like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna stop thinking about the American accent like 10 minutes into the movie. I think that's what's gonna happen. Okay, because they had two choices. Either you give them British accents or you make them do like a silly Greek accent, which was not going to work. Okay, so fuck it. Just go with the American accents. Would it have been my first choice? No. Dad, my dad's coming back. My dad Odysseus is coming. Oh, dad. Like, no. Okay, but like, to me, that's a fair criticism to me. Like, Lupita Nyong'o shouldn't be black. It's like, just shut the fuck up.
A female semi-divine figure, Helen, was abducted, and partly because the female deities...
Again, she hatched from an egg. Mensch, bring that up, please.
Pallas Athene, but also Hera, the sister stroke wife of Zeus, the chief god, want it to happen. So women are very, very powerful figures in this story, and they're certainly very dominant figures. And also another person I'd like to bring to mind, who isn't perhaps very familiar to all the audiences on both sides of the Atlantic, is a Victorian scholar and writer called Samuel Butler, who was so filled with the ideas that Victor was just expressing that he believed that Homer was a woman.
Far Twain says they know about the Odyssey because they were there. Accurate. They were there during the Iliad. Those guys, they've met Helen of Troy. They've been to Troy. They were there during the fall of Troy. They were there.
That's really?
That the author of the Odyssey must have been a woman because he was so sympathetic to the female point of view. Right. So I don't think Emily Wilson, who's a great woman and has herself in a recent interview in one of the newspapers, the Financial Times, said she doesn't regard herself as particularly modern. She thinks of herself as a sort of late Victorian. I think she's following along in this Victorian tradition of realizing that the Odyssey is very sympathetic to the feminine.
So just to be clear, I mean, you're not speaking for Emily, but
no, I'm
obviously
not. She wouldn't like me to speak.
Right, but you know her view about this. I mean, is she a little bit taken aback by this raging online debate about the supposed over-feminizing of the movie?
And everybody, congratulations to Haley. Haley says, chat, I was late because I've been getting ready to head to a little getaway for a few days to celebrate our 10th anniversary. Hope you guys have an amazing little getaway. Congratulations, Haley. Enjoy. I better not see you in this live chat for the next few days, Haley. You better not be in this live chat. Okay, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow and the next couple days. You better not be in this live. You better be enjoying your getaway, okay?
Because that in some way goes against the integrity of the original Odyssey.
Well, Emily is a US citizen. She knows what the United States is like, and she knows that there are sort of culture wars going on all the time, so she's not taken aback by anything, I don't think.
Let me bring in Daniel. So, Daniel, you've been quite critical of the translation for being too keen to strip the heroic and masculine out of the original Odyssey. Is that right?
Sorry, which translation?
Well, of Emily's version for the movie.
Well, my criticism of Emily's translation, I think, has to do with the way that it partakes of a trend that we have seen in recent years to sort of, let's call it, de-heroize Odysseus. So I think, when there's a choice between two alternative possible translations for a word describing Odysseus, she'll use the most pejorative possible word. So, for example, there's an adjective in Greek that most people translate as extremely cunning or extremely clever. She translates it as liar. And I've seen this in other movie versions. For example, the movie The Return that came out a couple of years ago sort of stripped.
He's right. Modern fiction, media is just too mean towards men. There aren't enough manly heroes on our screens, in our books. You know what I mean? Should we look at all the superhero movies that came out in the last few years? Should we look at most movies that are fucking made? Do they have male or female protagonists? I wonder. I think he's onto something, guys. When I think about Avengers Infinity War, it was 90% women, right? It was all women. Tonya Stark, Drusilla Banner, Lady Thor, right? All these women just dominating Hollywood.
Strips away all of the glamour of Homer's Odyssey. Homer's Odyssey has its protagonist, a character who is brilliant, funny, charming.
Even Troy from a few years. They had a blonde woman playing Achilles. Aitor says this is bullshit. Piers should have debated these historians against the incels. In comparison, they're going to fight the anti-woke movement as ridiculous. I think that the incels are joining the chat in a little bit.
insinuating, seductive, as well as being, you know, a Bronze Age hero. He's not averse to violence. He's not averse to trickery of a very dastardly kind, but he's an extremely complicated, to use Emily's adjective, character. And I do see in recent both scholarly writing about the Odyssey, in this movie, a kind of stripping away of Odysseus, what used to be seen as these sort of glamorous, brilliant, scintillating qualities of the character, and making him into this, as somebody just on Twitter referred to Odysseus as a mass murderer. You know, so I do think that's a problem. I think you have to give this character all of his many facets. And in my own translation, I'm trying to sort of be as scrupulous as possible, not in trying to turn.
I love that he's upset that like some random person on Twitter called Odysseus, a fictional character, a mass murderer. How dare you? Motherfucker, do you think if someone calls Spider-Man like a fucking piece of shit asshole, I'm gonna be defending Spider-Man on Twitter? Look, that's your interpretation, buddy. This person on Twitter called Odysseus a mass murderer. How dare they? How dare they not give this manly hero his flowers? Like, what? Who cares, you old fuckers? You old fuckers, go take your gout medication.
Homer into something that fits our ideas of masculinity or whatever, but as somebody who reflects the values of a, you know, a very remote culture in which a certain kind of, as we would say, performative masculinity was not considered to be a bad thing.
Okay.
You know,
let me bring in. We can talk like this for this.
Just reply to that.
Yeah, I wanted to give you right reply.
Because I mean, I think Emily is enormously charmed by Odysseus. Just to make that point, I mean, and one of the points she makes is that charming men often are extremely dishonest. But I mean, Virgil, for example, who was Homer's greatest fan and created his Aeneid out of the Trojan story. One of the very first things that the Trojans, who were wondering whether to bring in a wooden horse into Troy, which is what led to its destruction, says, is this really the way that we understood Ulysses' character? As they call him Ulysses, we call him Odysseus if we're Greek. But in other words, Odysseus, among many other things, was a notorious liar, and he lies and deceives and gives different versions of events throughout the Odyssey. And that's part of the humor. I mean, among other things, it's a very humorous epic. And one of the things that we enjoy about Odysseus.
The whole Trojan horse section was about lying and deception. It was about tricking your way and lying your way and cheating your way into the city of Troy. So how is he not a liar? How is he not like deceptive? Like, what the fuck? It's part of the fucking story. Like, to me, the Trojan horse is kind of like a pussy move, honestly. You know what I mean? It's clever, but it's dishonest. So is he not a liar on some degree?
Certainly I know Emily, because I've known her for over 50 years. She enjoys about his character is that he is dishonest. And I don't think Homer, to give her old-fashioned Greek word name, I don't think Homer wants to deceive us into thinking that Homer was thinking that Odysseus was a very upright.
Has he been unheroed in the way that Daniel just articulated?
I don't think so, because he's shown to be very brave. He's shown to be a good dad. Thinking back to your an earlier guest on the program.
My dad's coming home. My dad.
In which somebody was sharing the most horrific details with his son about erections and so forth, Michael Brown Johnson. But I mean, I think there's a very good, not bromance, but a very good relationship between Telemachus and Odysseus. And they weep together. And also, among other things which we haven't mentioned, Odysseus is sitting with this beautiful woman, Calypso, having what many of us, if we were sad old men, think was rather a wonderful time on her island, having lots of sex and food brought to himself. And he sits weeping, thinking of his wife at home. And she, similarly, in Ithaca, is weeping, thinking of him, even though he's been deceiving her all through the marriage, and she knows that. But nonetheless, they love one another.
So there's been no deliberate Wilson plot.
I don't think there's a Wilson plot.
Hero.
No, very much not. And heroes are not the same as saints. And heroes are full of...
mostly flawed characters.
They are flawed characters. Think of Achilles with the other great...
Great point. Also, I didn't know Odysseus was cheating on his wife. Odysseus was cheating on his wife? What the fuck? That's fucked up. I'm sure the movie's not going to cover that, right? They're going to try to paint Odysseus as a good dude. And if the movie doesn't cover Odysseus' deception towards his wife, there you go. They're making him more of a hero than he was. They're making him more of a saint than he was. So why are the Chuds complaining? They haven't even seen the fucking movie yet, by the way.
The other great Homeric poem, the Iliad, he's full of the most terrible flaws.
You've got to leave us. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It's amazing. Thank you
Giving
so
us
much.
Expert family response.
And the great thing is that we should always read. I mean, the first speaker, Victor, saying he couldn't understand students going to university and not reading Homer. And I can understand it, but I do wish they would, because it's just the best book in the world. And Western literature has just been downhill ever since.
Well said. They should. And Victor, I think, would absolutely agree. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Piers.
We're going to sub you out, Ian Wilson, with a brilliant contribution. We're going to bring in three of our regular guests, actually, to talk about a lot of the more negative reaction to the Odyssey movie is being driven in part by the movie fan community on YouTube, which is very vociferous. So we're going to bring in two of the biggest names in that space, Will Jordan, a.k.a. the Critical Drinker, and Gary Bigler, who's the Nerdrotic, of course.
There's our boys, Papa fucking Incel. Let's go. No, Chris, no spoilers. Papa Incel's here. Let's go.
I was rounding off our truly epic panel, host of Bet News, Mark Lamont Hill. So welcome to the three of you, and Victor's kindly...
What a fucking silly-ass panel to talk about this. I like Mark Lamont Hill. He's great. These two fucking guys, disgusting fucking... free swift. Look, they've made a fortune. They have made a fortune by monetizing people's anger, by manufacturing fake fucking anger. Enjoy the super chats. Enjoy the AdSense, you idiots, and your horrible contributions to culture.
Agreed to stay here. Now, Victor teed this up by saying at the start, Critical Drinker. The fuss exclusively about the choice of having Lupita Nyong'o, a black woman, African-American actress, playing Helen of Troy was, somehow wrong. That because mythology has her, even though she's not a real person, has her as a white woman, this shouldn't have been the case. What is your view?
Yeah, I mean, it's worth keeping in mind that something like the Odyssey is this epic fantasy story, but it's fantasy grounded in the real world. It's set within a very specific geographical location and time. And like any geographic...
By the way, he says the same shit about the Lord of the Rings, right? So it doesn't matter. It's set within a real world and time. It's very close to reality. He would have the same complaints about the Lord of the Rings when they had a black elf, when they had a black dwarf. Well, dwarves aren't supposed to be black. So he's going to try to make it seem like, oh, it's about history and it's so close to the actual reality. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't want black people in movies. They don't want trans people in movies. They just want white people in movies. That's all he cares about. He's going to use the fact that, oh, but it's so close to reality. Same complaints about the Lord of the Rings. Same complaints about any time an actor is race swapped. So this is so fucking disingenuous. It's pathetic.
Location and time. It has demographics of people that are believable in that time and people who are not. And the best way to contextualize this kind of decision is, say you had a movie set in pre-colonial Africa and one of the tribal leaders was a random white guy, and none of the other characters thought that was even remotely strange. No one reacted to it, and there was no explanation for it. That's kind of the similar situation to what you have with the Odyssey. It doesn't really make sense contextually, and I think that's what people are reacting to. And this is coming off the back of a period within Hollywood movie making where there has been a lot of rather bizarre race swaps of characters. I mean, if you go back to things like we produced over here in the UK, we've had an Asian Sir Isaac Newton, we've had a black Anne Boleyn. These are real historical characters, but we're now supposed to pretend that they're a completely different race, and it doesn't.
I mean, okay, look, an Asian Isaac Newton. If you're making real historical figures, if you're race swapping them, that's weird. Granted, they had a black Cleopatra on Netflix. Drove the Egyptian people crazy.
Doesn't make sense.
Right, Mark Lamont Hill, I saw you smirking with derision there, I think I'm right in identifying the nature of the smirk. But if I said to you, look, I'm going to be starring as Othello next week in a massive Broadway version of Shakespeare's great play, would you feel that would be appropriate, given I'm a white guy?
First, you read my smirk correctly. Your powers of observation and analysis have really sharpened since I started coming on the show. You're welcome. I think for me, the question is always, is it historically accurate? Yes. But also, what's the genre? If it's mythic, if it's fantasy, or if the artist is explicitly saying, hey, we're not playing on historical accuracies precisely because of the fantasy aspect of it, I'm fine with it. But if you're actually not doing that, and you're not eyes wide open, you don't show your cards, then it would be a problem. So if you were playing Othello and we had that conversation, I'd be fine with it. The reason I smirked was because there's a long history in Hollywood of white people playing characters that should be black people. I mean, Charlton Heston as Moses was kind of wild. You know what I mean? Was it Laurence Olivier who played the Mahdi?
White people used to put on blackface and play black people. What was it in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? The guy who plays, there's a white guy who plays a Mexican guy in the movie. What's his name? He was in The Holiday. If you guys have seen The Holiday, there's the old Jewish actor who goes to get who accepts an award at the end of the movie, and Kate Winslet helps him go to get the award. He played the Mexican guy in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Isn't that crazy? No one gives a shit about that. No one talks about that now.
In the 70s film about Muhammad Ahmed al-Mahdi in Sudan. I mean, it's fascinating to me to see the outrage now, particularly since the character.
We've got our issues with those pieces of casting as well.
Yeah, I wasn't alive when that happened.
I'm not sure we should.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. So now they're pretending, oh, we have issues with that. We have a problem with that. Shut the fuck up, especially Gary Beekler. Like, for example, just today they announced that they're bringing back Blue Beetle, he's going to make an appearance in the Superman movie. He is a Latino character. Gary Beekler put out a tweet saying like, nothing interesting to taco about. Taco. He made a taco joke because a Mexican character is going to be in a Superman movie. They're fucking racists. They're fucking racist. As soon as I criticized his show, the first thing they called me was a terrorist and a goat fucker. That's the kind of person he is. So, yeah, Gary, I don't think you give a shit if a white person plays an Arab, a Mexican, a black person. Stop fucking pretending. God, these people are fucking pathetic, dude. Pathetic. And by the way, this guy is 56 years old. 56 years old.
I made an entire video about terrible casting choices in Hollywood, and one of them was John Wayne playing Genghis Khan in The Conqueror. I think that's completely absurd as well. So I've got plenty of issues with bad whitewashing casting over the years, but that was 50 or 60 years ago. I can't do anything about that now.
Daniel Middleton, one of our other panelists here, penned a column to the New York Times entitled, "Does Matt Damon Look Greek? No. So stop complaining about Lupita Nyong'o." In it, he asks, so what is Mr. Nolan up to? As it turns out, the auteur is using Helen, just as the Greek authors did, to provoke, challenge, and discomfort how we think about beauty and identity, about who we are and how we relate to the world. By that criteria, what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? Well, what I primarily point out for the film is the hypocrisy from Hollywood. If you're trying to be provocative, then you're being subversive. You're just coming out and saying, yes, we're being subversive, we're being provocative with this casting. So it's not the best person for the role, and it's not for authenticity. We're trying to challenge traditional beliefs. Well, that's something Christopher.
What is art supposed to do? What is art supposed to do? You just want someone to like shove easily digestible shit down your fucking throat? You just want like more fucking slop, or do you want to be a little bit? You want to be a bit challenged when you watch a movie? Do you want your thoughts to be challenged? Do you enjoy a thought-provoking film, or you just want some fucking AI slop? I'm sure Gary Beekler is going to be the first person to watch the AI version of the Odyssey that they're working on right now, essentially, right? Because they're all going to be white. Art should not challenge me. Art should not make me think. Art should be exactly what I think it is. No room for interpretation. No room for an artist to express themselves. Nothing. Just give me what I'm asking for. These are the fucking annoying people that were begging for like the Snyder cut, by the way. They're used to just being fans and bitching online and getting what they want. That's all they do.
Christopher Nolan doesn't usually do. This is a game he doesn't usually play. And let's not forget that these beliefs, these quote unquote values of diversity and inclusion are baked into the awards rules. So they're baked into the company's rules and the awards rules. And we just had a film that completely flopped, Moana, the live action remake that was, touting how authentic it was to that culture. Well, that's just a fantasy. Why does it matter? And my argument is, if it doesn't matter, then why change it? It's the motivation behind the change that.
Dude, what an idiot. How many movies about Hawaii do you know? Like, right? Like, Moana is the one movie that takes place in Hawaii. So, yeah, if they race swapped the one Hawaiian princess in all of Disney's pantheon and changed her race, then that's a fucking problem, of course. Of course, but every single protagonist, every single Hollywood movie, 99% of everything that gets fucking released, white characters, white protagonist, white hero, white problems, white everything, okay? So if you change Moana and make her white, the whole point of Moana is that she's a Hawaiian princess, that she's in Hawaii. That's the whole fucking point of it. It's like making Black Panther white. You can't do that. There are some times where, yes, you cannot race swap. You fucking idiots. You fucking idiot. If they made Moana a white girl, there's no point for the fucking movie to exist. You can't even tell the story because it's all about this girl in Hawaii. Okay? Is it so fucking hard to understand? What changes about the Odyssey if Helen of Troy, who appears in the movie for like 5 minutes, by the way, is black? What does that affect it? How does that affect it?
People sense. And it also is a red flag for how we're going to treat the source material and how we're going to go through. Like I saw this with the Rings of Power. The Rings of Power, they changed, they had black dwarves and black elves and
black dwarf, black elves. Look at that. Even fantastical creatures that don't exist in real life. Elves and dwarves are not allowed to be black. They have to be white because Tolkien 80 years ago wrote them as white. So you cannot have any representation. You cannot have any different races, even in the Lord of the fucking Rings. Like the guy was saying, well, the Odyssey is based on reality and that's why it's jarring when it's black. Well, is it fucking jarring to see a black elf? Who gives a shit? They're not real. The elf alone is jarring. It's this fucking fantastical creature with pointy ears that live forever, that are immortal. They can be any fucking race they want to be, dude. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? manufactured outrage. And what's funny is that now, because Gollum, the Hunt for Gollum movie, we talked about it yesterday. Andy Serkis came out and said, we're not going to do any politically correct casting just to tick boxes. Everyone's going to be white, essentially. You're going to see these fucking idiots that have been shitting on the Odyssey for months. They're going to be rioting so hard for the fucking Gollum movie. And that's going to be so fucking hilarious. Of all the movies that they have to fucking ride for and fucking suck its fucking D, you know? It's going to be the Gollum movie, dude. The fucking Gollum movie. Watch these fucking idiots trip over themselves. Be like, well, the Hunt for Gollum, that's going to be Hollywood's true savior. The Hunt for Gollum. Who gives a shit about a fucking Gollum movie, you fucking idiots? Like, holy fuck, dude. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. And this just exposes everything that they do, right? White cast, they're gonna fucking support. And I can't wait. I'm sure they've already dropped a video. I'm sure they've already dropped videos praising Andy Serkis for the white cast of... I'm going to look that up on my phone right now, actually.
Oh, by the way, they completely went off the text. So it's a red flag for something else. Now, Lupita Nyong'o, if I'm mispronouncing her name, I apologize. But if she's in it for a little bit, like, the movie could still be good. It could absolutely still be good. But it's a red flag, and it's subversive casting. So it does rile people up. It's meant to rile people up, just like the casting of Black Snake.
Okay, look, that's already... This is Yellow Flash. This is one of those fucking weirdos that I think contributes to these guys. Already, dude. Like clockwork. Where is it? 3 days ago. Dude, there's so many. They have so many fucking videos, dude. Oh my God, dude. Where is it? It was just here. Look at that. They want him gone. We won't be ticking boxes. Andy Serkis slams woke critics. That's it. The Hunt for Gollum is not going to be their poster child, dude. It's so fucking funny. A fucking Gollum movie.
Okay, Victor, let me bring you back in here, if I may.
Yes.
What's your response to that argument?
I think he makes a good point about subversive. When we talk about people of different races playing characters, the complaint about Hollywood, say, pre-1980, was that white characters, Burt Lancaster, Charles Bronson, Audrey Hepburn, who played Native Americans, the issue was there were probably Native American actors who would have been more authentic. I don't know if they were as good actors, but there was no effort. But the point I'm making is they tried to look or appear as they were Native Americans. So when a Mexican-American actor played Zorba the Greek, Anthony Quinn tried to look Greek, and it was enhanced because he looked Greek in some ways. When Laurence Olivier tried to play Othello, he was white, but he tried to look like he was North African. And but I think the other guest was right about trying to be subversive. In the case of Lupita, I mean, it would be kind of absurd in modern sensibilities to have an African-American actress or African-British actress then wear, I guess we could use that word, whiteface, so she would appear more more authentic.
Check this out real quick, okay? I just typed in Andy Serkis white cast. Can I bring this here? I just typed in Andy Serkis white cast on YouTube. That's all I wrote, okay? And these are the videos that you're getting now. Look at that. Andy Serkis defends all white cast in Lord of the Rings. Scroll down. Goated. Andy Serkis is correct on lack of diversity in The Hunt for Gollum. Wokeness rejected. Andy Serkis praised for rejecting politically correct casting. They want him gone. Fuck off. We won't be ticking boxes. Andy Serkis slams woke critics of Lord of the Rings. Hunt for Gollum. Look at that. They want him gone. Fuck off. What more do we have? What else do we have? Come on. Defended casting. Hollywood will hate this. Gollum actor Andy Serkis squirms over woke question about lack of DEI in Lord of the Rings. This is Sky News, by the way. This is fucking Sky News. Crazy. They're already tripping over themselves to fucking gush for the Gollum movie because it's only going to have a white cast. That's all that matters to these fucking racists. Don't let anyone tell you anything differently. And Andrea Jones, folks, holy shit. Andrea, we looked at your response. We saw your tweet about the Kevin Sorbo. Andrea Jones just gifted 5 Do Not Worry memberships. Thank you so much, Andrea. That is way too kind, way too generous. W's in the chat for Andrea, folks. Let's fucking go. And fuck Kevin Sorbo, by the way.
As far as the actual text of Homer goes, but it is a subversive act. It's saying that we're going to take somebody who does not appear anywhere near the look of Helen, and why it might have been less subversive for Clytemnestra or other characters. After all, Helen is the central character and caused the Trojan War. I have no problem, as the other guest said, about being subversive, if that's openly your point, is to draw attention that you're trying to destroy characterization or traditional stereotypes, but it's not being authentic to what the author imagined.
Okay.
It might be your interpretation of what he imagined, but if it isn't. And again, I think just to finish, we have a whole tradition of, it is kind of insulting to, it's very unpopular. There's a lot of controversy in Greece. It would be as if you made, an epic, remade How the West Was Won, and you didn't have one American actor in it. You all had Europeans or Africans or Asians. So to make this national epic, which the Greek people feel is a continuous tradition from the 7th, 8th century, and not have...
Well, funny, I haven't heard any of you fuckers complaining about Matt Damon being white. All I hear is Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page. Why is that? Why aren't you complaining about the white actors? Why is it nerdrotic Gary Beekler, Papa Incel, complaining about Matt Damon being white? Too white for the role. All of his thumbnails have Lupita Nyong'o on them or Elliot Page. None of them have Matt Damon crying and looking like a fucking weirdo.
A single Greek actress or actor is kind of jarring when you go out of your way to get other people who would cause controversy and sometimes in a subversive manner.
Right. Well, I was actually in Greece, coincidentally. I'm going to bring Daniel back in here. I was actually in Greece a few days last week, coincidentally, and I had this anger expressed because there are no Greeks in this movie. An open letter in the Greek City Times said Greek people did not disappear after the age of myth. Greek culture was not frozen in classical marble. Greek language was not extinguished in antiquity. We are still here. Now, if you go back in time, this is not the first time you've had a black actress play Helena Troy. Orson Welles cast Eartha Kitt as his Helena Troy back in 1950, something I didn't discover until this morning. So there.
Cancel him. Cancel Orson Welles. Yeah, isn't Christopher Nolan allowed to take inspiration from Orson Welles, for example, for this? Like, isn't he allowed? No, of course. He's just being a woke little piece of shit. I love that they're going after Nolan, dude. I love that this movie's going to make so much money. It's going to get so many fucking Oscars. Nice try, Chuds. Nice try, incels. Hopefully The Hunt for Gollum will make $1 billion.
There is precedent for this, Daniel. It's been done. There wasn't the outcry then, there is now. But if I'm Greek, I'm probably looking at this going, yeah, I would take the view that Victor just articulated, which is, seriously, you're not going to have a single great actor in the Odyssey?
I mean, first of all, I think it has to be said that all of this is a sort of a tempest in a teacup, because as anyone who has read the Odyssey knows, Helen has the tiniest imaginable role in the Odyssey. And I have seen the film, and I think it's fair to say that she's on screen for maybe 45 seconds, literally. So that's one thing. I mean, it really seems to be silly to getting everyone's knickers in a twist about a very minor character.
Okay, dude, even I thought she was in the movie for like 5 minutes. 45 seconds? That's crazy.
Is he trying to be provocative? Yeah, absolutely. I would say that, of course, you're not going to cast...
He's trying to be provocative by having a black woman in a movie. He's trying to be provocative by having a black woman play a fictional character that does not exist. Now, apparently that is provocation. You are provoking the people.
A black person is Abraham Lincoln because these are historical documents, and we know, we have a sense of what historical characters look like. We have documentary proof. This is a fantasy epic, right? We're all used by now to seeing all kinds of actors of every imaginable extraction on the stage, in movies, operas, playing kinds of people that were, roles that were written originally for white people. It really doesn't matter to me. I think the real question to be asking about this movie, and I don't know who else among my fellow guests here has seen it. I saw it earlier this Monday, last Monday, is forget about the details. Everyone's hysterical that the ship isn't accurate, the armor isn't accurate, the costumes aren't accurate. They speak with American accents because, as everyone knows, the ancient Greeks and Romans spoke with British accents, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The real question I think we should be focused on here is, does this film convey the spirit of the original? That's the question to ask in a large sense.
I would say, where does it stop? If you start saying, well, the armor's not accurate, the ships aren't accurate, the casting's not accurate, the accents are not accurate, the dialogue's not accurate. Well, what do you have left? How far are you going to go with this?
Well, also,
I don't think that's about. No, I think absolutely you can get the.
We now are, everything needs to be 100% accurate to the fucking period. Everything. If the helmet is just a little bit off, you broke my immersion, Christopher Nolan. What a fucking high, impossible to meet fucking bar. What movie do you like is 100% accurate to the historical period that it's being fucking made? It's great when it is, especially when it's a true story, not a fictional fucking story with cyclopses in it. It's a fucking cyclops. There's a giant monster in a cave with one eyeball that eats people. What kind of historical accuracy do you want, you fucking idiots? You racist fucking idiots who can't enjoy a fucking movie anymore, dude. What a pathetic existence it is that you can't even look forward to the next, Christopher Nolan movie. You can't even let yourself enjoy it because you have to hate it for your audience, and you have to make 100 videos about how bad it is and how woke and how DEI the whole thing is. Dude, just fucking go watch the Odyssey. If you have a girlfriend or a wife, take her, have a good night out at the movies, enjoy, be swept away in the grand adventure. Look, I haven't even seen, I might fucking hate the movie, but I'm not gonna fucking hate it because there's a black actress in there. I'm not gonna hate it because there's Elliot Page in there. I might hate it if the story's shit, if it's boring, if the pacing is bad, if the dialogue is bad. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I want a good story. I want to be swept away. I want to get emotional. I want to be impressed. I want to see amazing fucking visuals. I want to see shit that's been shot in camera. I want to see a movie, the first movie that has ever been filmed with an IMAX camera from beginning to end. The whole fucking film, they had to build a brand new IMAX camera especially for this fucking movie. That's why I'm going to watch it. That's why I went through the trouble of booking my ticket over a month ago. And we're going to drive 45 minutes to get to that fucking theater. It's not even close. We're going to drive like almost 2 hours total just to see the fucking movie in my preferred, format. Aitor says it's over. The Argentine Senate passed the law. Foreigners can buy Argentine territory without any limitations. Today, Argentina lost its sovereignty, and most people don't even know. Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, you're fucked. Israel, you guys are getting Israeled. The Argentine Senate passed the law. Dude, you guys need to revolt. Aitors, you guys need to take to the streets and in Minecraft, burn that shit down. Revolution. Viva la revolución, Aitors. Fuck shit up. Go fuck shit up. And when are the next presidential elections? When can you reverse this? But dude, that's why Israel, and that person on Twitter was right. That's why Israel is backing Argentina so badly, because they want to buy your territory. They want to buy your territory. Israel's coming to America, folks. Israel is coming to America. You let them do their shit in the Middle East. You allowed this shit to happen, and now they're coming to you. They are coming to you. Holy Aitors, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's so fucked up, man. Fuck, dude. Should have stopped Israel when you had the chance. We've been warning you guys. Us Arabs have been warning you guys from the beginning. Whoever wanted to listen, listened. Guess what? America's next, too. If you think the United States aren't next, you guys are fucking mistaken.
The thrust of the story across, its main themes. I don't think these incidentals actually matter that much. If it presents Odysseus as the kind of hero he is in the original, if it gets across the crucial themes, homecoming, the meaning of home, the allure of adventure, competing with the desire for the stability of home, all of that stuff, then I'll be happy.
Okay,
I
let me bring in. I want to bring in Mark Lamont Hill here, because of something Critical Drinker, whose video on the Odyssey has had over 5 million views, and Critical Drinker says 3 million.
Just 3.
I'm sorry, you've been promoted.
Hit 5.
You've been promoted. It's been promoted by one of my team. Obviously, he just wants to make you sound even more successful and famous and rich than you already are, which is hard to imagine. So only 3 million views. But in it, you say about it, there's this weird assumption that every other culture, race, and ethnic group in the world are entitled to their own unique stories, history, and identity, and it all has to be carefully fenced off and respected. Whereas anything created by white Europeans is treated like some generic all-you-can-eat buffet that everyone's allowed to stick their hands into. Mark Lamont Hill, your response to that?
I think that feeling is one that every culture and ethnicity and race has. I mean, we have this conversation every year whenever there's a movie about slaves or enslaved people in the United States, and we looked at all the actors aren't black people, they're getting played by Brits, and it's a similar conversation internally within the black community, the African American community in particular, even about Lupita. And so I think that feeling is common, but I think when it comes to European culture, European civilization, I don't see any historical record of that. I mean, the fact that we're still showing the Odyssey, playing the Odyssey, reenacting the Odyssey, rewriting the Odyssey. People make their academic careers just on translations of the Odyssey. We are obsessed with European culture and centering it. And when one film comes out that has an alternate interpretation and a more fantastic, and I mean that in the sense of fantasy, a more fantastic interpretation of it, we act as if, the world is ending, and I don't think we need to do that. I think it's okay to have this type of interpretation, and I think if you were to subject any text or any film to historical scrutiny, if I were to look at any film about the 50s or the 60s, if you look closely enough at the clothes that they're wearing or the music that's playing, there's usually some anachronism there. It just so happens that we're sort of obsessed with this one. And it's finally, in terms of fidelity to the text, most books that are turned into films are not the same as the movie. Go watch The Color Purple. It is absolutely different on screen than what happened in the book. What Spielberg did is very different than what Alice Walker did. That is a normal artistic gesture.
just bring up the Lord of the Rings that these two fuckers love to jerk off to. I mean, I love the Lord of the Rings, but they like it for the wrong reasons. They like the Lord of the Rings because it doesn't have any black people in it. They love the Lord of the Rings because it's an all-white cast, all-white story, right? And they never cast a black person in there, so that's why they love it. It is completely different than the books. There are entire chapters, entire characters that are missing from the films that are in the books, that even in the extended editions, it's not even enough. So they don't care about how accurately... Tolkien's son fucking hated the Lord of the Rings movies. He said his dad would roll over in his grave if he watched those movies. He thinks they're too action-oriented. He thinks the message is gone. So Tolkien's own son, fucking Christopher Tolkien, who finished writing some of his dad's books, including The Silmarillion, he fucking hates the Lord of the Rings. He fucking thinks it's a travesty of a movie franchise. But you don't hear these fucking guys complain about it. They fucking love the Lord of the Rings. Why? Because it's all white. It has nothing to do with how accurate it is to the story. It has nothing to do with it. It's accurate to European tradition and folklore and whatever the fuck. It's all about race. It's all about white versus black. I swear to God, dude, it's as simple as that.
And no one is confused about this. And it seems to me that the only people we're worried about, not you guys, but some people are worried about there, is the Lapita one, the smallest character in the film. Again, nobody's Greek. Nobody matches ethnically, nationally, etc., culturally with these characters. But the only one that seems so out of step that we can't stand it is the black one. And that's why Eartha Kitt made sense, probably because she's not as dark as Lapita. So it wasn't as jarring to people. But the idea that the black character is to be the one that we put on the outs of this is silly. None of them fit.
Well, we're talking about Lupita a lot, but there's Zendaya, there's Elliot Page, which nobody's brought up. I mean,
well, I was actually literally about to ask you.
Please tell us about Elliot Page. Fuck Piers Morgan for platforming these fucking idiots, dude. This is so fucking stupid, man.
About that. So let me just ask you that, Nadronic, because Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page, so a trans, woman who became a trans man, is in the role of Sinon, a cunning Greek soldier and the cousin of Odysseus. It's been billed as another casting controversy, said to be a nod to contemporary LGBTQ, etc. politics. And the memes have been relentless. Let's take a look at some of these.
We're looking at memes? Dude, okay, this is fucking hateful, dude. We're looking at AI memes making fun of Elliot Page on a fucking news broadcast. Dude, this is the Jerry Springer of fucking news, dude. This is genuinely the Jerry Springer of news. Holy shit, dude.
See her! So that was inevitable, I guess, from the online stuff, because that's what the online world does. But, I mean, should we care about this? Is it a nod to the LGBTQ culture war, or is it just the fact that Elliot Page is a good actor, got picked for the role, and does a good job?
And don't forget, Elliot Page previously worked with Christopher Nolan. They have a working relationship. Elliot Page was in Inception. Was he in another one of Nolan's films? At least in Inception. So there's a working relationship there. They have a good rapport. Christopher Nolan wanted to work with an actor that he likes and respects and whose talent he respects and who thought would fit this role perfectly. But these bigots can't get through their fucking skulls. And yeah, why the fuck are they dead naming Elliot Page? Why do they have to talk about, you know, their older identity? They have to, right?
I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that for me?
Yes, for you to draw it. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Elliot's a good actor or not. I think it's you could make an argument that Christopher Nolan likes to work with people he has worked with before, and you can also.
Wow, Papa Incel. Crazy he made that connection. Crazy his fucking fried brain, his brain that he fried on fucking heroin, can even still make these connections.
Also make an argument that this is absolutely a nod for that. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't know why you bring in a character that wasn't even in the original poem from outside it, you know, just for this part, and that those are changes that certainly can be made. And again, if Christopher Nolan's name is,
I would love to watch Gary Beekler's breakdown on how The Lord of the Rings was inaccurate to the books and him complaining about it for 4 hours. I'm sure that video doesn't exist.
Attached to this film, everybody's going to think it's a bomb. But Christopher Nolan being attached to this film, he gets a certain amount of respect that he absolutely deserves, the benefit of the doubt, which he absolutely deserves. I don't know how much Elliot is actually in the film as well. It could be a very small part as far as I know, and it still could be good. But you can't blame people. The context of this is, yes, there is a culture war. There's always a culture war. And there's one it's an open culture war right now. And we are 10 years deep into it. And we are seeing the same red flags and signs as we have seen with other films, be it historical drama or just known mythological text or just a well-known story, that they are changing to be subversive, and people are now sensing that. That breaks the spell. That breaks authenticity, and it takes you out of the movie when you know what the motivation is. The motivation should be best person for the job, period.
Yeah, Victor, I mean, take for example.
How do you know that Elliot Page isn't the best person for the job? Did you write the movie? Are you the film's director? Do you know who you envisioned to have in that role? Dude, this is so blatantly just fucking racist and transphobic and just bigoted. These motherfuckers have nothing to do with the movie. You got Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest directors working today, who has earned the benefit of the fucking doubt. He decided that Elliot Page is the person for this role, the role that he fucking wrote in his interpretation of the Odyssey. Okay? This isn't Homer fucking directing the movie. It's Christopher Nolan's version. It's Christopher Nolan's interpretation.
The ongoing thing about James Bond, right? Who's obviously a fictitious character, British spy. And I've never had a problem when there were rumors that Idris Elba may be the new Bond, of having a black man play James Bond. Because I thought fictitious character, why does that matter? I don't think the racial identity of James Bond is particularly pertinent to the movies. However, I had a big problem when there were rumors circulating it might be a woman. They might change James Bond's sex. So I don't even know if my views are consistent here with any of this debate. But
I think they could be rescued. The issue is twofold. Are these first the anachronisms? Are they within the parameters of the believable?
And by the way, I kind of agree with Piers Morgan there. Like, what are the characteristics that make James Bond James Bond? He is a womanizer, right? Badass spy, good looking, and a man. Essentially, I mean, James Bond should probably be a man. You want to make a female 00 character? Go ahead. Right? But what is James Bond? He's a womanizer, handsome, good-looking, and he's a spy. How does being white play in James Bond's characteristics? It doesn't. It doesn't. So James Bond can be race swap. James Bond can be Asian. James Bond can be black. James Bond can be Latino. It doesn't matter what James Bond is, ultimately, as long as he's a womanizing, secret agent who's a badass, who is proficient with weapons and with hand-to-hand combat, and who has a bunch of cool gadgets. That is James Bond. That's what you think of when you think of James Bond. Right? And he's got to be British. He has to be British. Doesn't matter the race, but he has to be British, you know? Black Panther, for example, the whole point of Black Panther is that he is an African king, representing the sort of power fantasy and fantasy for African nations as to, like, here's an African nation. Here's how a certain African nation could have looked like without any fucking colonialism, without any fucking without slavery, without white meddling, essentially. This is what it could have been like. This is what it could have looked like back in the day. Black Panther was created in the 60s. I remember Stan Lee wanted to create a character that made black people, African Americans, feel empowered. And over the years, they've added so much to the lore, and you've had amazing black writers and black artists that have contributed to the lore and to the story of T'Challa and Wakanda, essentially. But being black is core to Black Panther. That's why we're like, well, you can't make Black Panther white. Of course you can't. Of course you can't make Black Panther white, because the core of the character is being an African king of a powerful African nation, to fight the stereotypes of what people used to look at how people used to look at African Americans in the fucking 60s. That's the whole point. There are characters that you cannot race swap, but there are characters that you can absolutely race swap. Spider-Man just has to be a nerdy kid from, like, New York. That's it. Nerdy kid, skinny, shy, can't talk to girls, doesn't make a lot of money, lives with his aunt and uncle, lost his parents, loses Uncle Ben in a traumatic way. Race doesn't fucking matter. Now, are people used to a white Peter Parker, Sure, but ultimately Peter Parker could be anything. Technically, Peter Parker could be anything. Being white does not play a key role in who that character is. Do you understand?
So if you have a ship, does it sort of look like a trireme, or does it look like a U.S. destroyer, to be extreme? So in the same thing with the characters, do they approximate the image that you want to convey that this is happening in early Greece? And the same thing, I think, with race. If you have an Ian Fleming's novel and it's very male-centric and masculine in the 1950s or 40s sense, and you have a black actor, you can say, well, race is incidental, not essential to who James Bond was, because he's a man of action. But when you bring a woman in, then that's a bridge too far, because it violates the entire ethos or atmosphere of who James Bond is. And I think Daniel made a good point. When the two minor characters are the two sisters, Clytemnestra and Helen, in the Odyssey, they almost have no don't have very many lines at all. So if you want to bring in an African American and work within the boundaries, but if you were to cast her as Penelope, that's a central character, and that would bring attention so that her race would be essentialized rather than incidental to the character of Penelope. Yeah. And I think what he's doing is, and I haven't seen the movie, but I think he's working around the periphery. He's using trans actors or black actors in roles that you're usually not accustomed to see them in, but not tampering with the essential Odysseus. This argument would be raging if Odysseus was black or Asian, as it would be with other works. If you had a Martin Luther King novel.
But he's white. You made Odysseus white and not Greek. Where's the outrage there? I know Greek people are angry. But how about Gary Beekler? Papa Incel, why isn't he angry?
And the person was white, that would be jarring. It would even if it was a fiction, nobody would want to do that. But if you had an advisor who was black and you changed that advisor to a white person for ecumenicalism or diversity, nobody would really object.
Right.
So the question I have is he doing this because these are great actors and they will enhance even these minor roles, or maybe even to stretch it a little bit, is he doing it to open people's sensibilities, or is he just doing it, as has been suggested, to be subversive, or even to please the people who produce the movies and distribute them and award them?
Well, there is another.
If you're going to accuse Christopher Nolan of doing something to please or placate to anyone, you're fucking stupid. You're just a fucking idiot, dude. Christopher Nolan is like a pure artist in the purest form of the word, man. Okay? So, like, I think whoever he casts, he must have a great fucking reason to do so. Okay, and if you look at that fucking cast, it is stacked as fuck, dude.
Theory, and I'm going to bring this to Daniel because there was a very entertaining spat online on X between the historian Tom Holland and Elon Musk. And it began when Holland posted lots of people telling me The Odyssey is a terrible film on the basis of not having seen it. I've now watched it twice, and it is by some way the best cinematic adaptation of a Greek myth I've ever seen. It honors Homer while simultaneously making something new of him. Now, Elon Musk disagreed, saying Chris Nolan desecrated The Odyssey so that he would be eligible for an Academy Award. Now, he then called Holland a cuck, which is, we believe, because he got the wrong Tom Holland. He thought it was the actor who plays Spider-Man, who he thinks is in the thrall of his actress girlfriend, and now wife, we believe. In response, the actual Tom Holland, the historian, responded, very happy to say it again, The Odyssey is an amazing film, and missing out on seeing it because you think it's woke or whatever, it's cutting off your nose to spite your face, your loss. So Daniel, you have seen it. Would you concur with Tom Holland?
Well, here in the States, there's a very strict embargo on reviews, so I can't say too much about it. But I do think it does bring across some of the big moments, the moments we know and love, the Cyclops, the incredible shipwrecks, the storms at sea, Scylla, the six-headed dragon that eats his men, and the great whirlpool Charybdis. I will. Piers, I'm going to have to answer your question obliquely by repeating what I said before. I think, and I'm responding to something, Victor, that you were saying, the main criterion has to be the central character, whether he comes across the way that Homer paints him, which is as multifaceted, brilliant, slightly arrogant, violent when he needs to be, but also charming. He's a bit of a James Bond himself, actually, come to think of it. And that, to me, was the big question. I just filed my own very long review of the movie, but I do think that's the question, actually, that should be raised. But
and what's your answer? Was he successful or not?
Fan of Christopher Nolan. When it was announced that he was going to be doing this, I was very enthusiastic. Partly because one of the things about the Odyssey that I think
also what I love, none of these fuckers have seen the movie except this guy. So they're all bitching and moaning about a movie they haven't even fucking watched. And to be fair, I haven't watched it either. I might think it's terrible, but if I think it's terrible, it's not because of the shit that they're complaining about. It's woke, it's got a black actor. If I think it's terrible, it's because the writing was bad, the pacing was bad, I thought the visuals were bad, I was bored or something. Like, that's why, if I don't like the movie, this will be why I don't like the movie. Okay? Nothing to do with all of the manufactured outrage that they've been bitching about for fucking months.
People need to think about in evaluating how this adaptation works is not the details, but Homer has a very complicated way of telling this story. It does not unfold chronologically. There's incredible looping back in time, stories within stories, conversations within conversation. It's a very kind of knotted way of storytelling.
I hate that, to be honest with you guys. I fucking hate non-linear storytelling. And Nolan loves non-linear storytelling, dude. It fucking pisses me off sometimes. I swear to God, dude. Just fucking tell me the story. Like, you can have some flashbacks, but like the whole thing, flashback within a flashback, and then we're back to the present, and then another fucking flashback, and then back to the present, and then another flashback. Like, stop. Give me a normal fucking narrative, dude. I'm fucking so sick of the non-linear shit. Fucking exhausting, man.
And that is something I think Chris Nolan is, I'm sure many of you have seen his movies. This is something he loves playing with. His own plots, his own movies often are very complicatedly narrated, moving back and forth between past and future and through time. So I thought this is the right guy for the job. And that's one of the things that I appreciated about the way he handled Homer was not the substance, let's call it, but the style, which seemed very Chris Nolan-ish. And very
I'm a massive Nolan fan. I think he's a cinematic genius. But let me go to our two movie gurus here and just get.
Oh my God, movie gurus, dude. These two fucking incel fucking losers who only, like, Gary Beekler is not a movie guru. He just likes comic book movies. He just likes superhero shit. That's all he watches. That's his breadth of knowledge in the world of movies. Comic books. That's all he knows, dude. Like, you're going to have these fucking idiots criticize Christopher Nolan? Are you fucking shitting me, dude? What a fucking joke this is, dude. What a fucking joke. Memento's cool. I like Memento. But like the whole point of Memento is that it's like a story told backwards. That's the whole point of the movie. But just constantly jumping back and forth, like, that just fucking annoys me.
A prediction for how it's going to do, because early numbers suggest the Odyssey's on track for a massive domestic opening in the United States of $80 to $100 million. So, Critical Drinker, is this going to be another Nolan smash hit, do you think?
It's definitely not going to lose money, put it that way. I don't know if it's going to reach the same heights as something like Oppenheimer, because there's not quite the same immediate cultural attachment to it as you did with something like Oppenheimer, which is still within living memory, and we're still living with the fallout of that, for lack of a better word.
Dumbass, Oppenheimer made the amount of money it made because of the Barbie movie. Don't try to deny it. Oppenheimer benefited. It was going to make a lot of money, but it was never going to make $900 million if it didn't have the advent of Barbenheimer. Barbenheimer made it a must-see go-to event. People that would have never watched Oppenheimer went to do the double feature and watch Barbie and watch Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was always going to make money, but the fact that it made all that money is not because it's more culturally relevant or people remember Oppenheimer. It's because there was the fucking Barbenheimer meme, dude. Literally Barbenheimer. Both movies ended up helping each other, but Barbie did a lot of heavy lifting to help Oppenheimer, okay? What a fucking idiot. What a bad fucking point. People remember Oppenheimer, but they don't remember the Odyssey. I'm sorry. More people know the Odyssey than they know fucking Oppenheimer. Especially in America. Everybody's forced to fucking read it in high school. Trying to make it about cultural relevance or people remember. Bring me on your fucking show, Piers. Not these fucking clowns.
It's definitely not going to lose money, put it that way. I don't know if it's going to reach the same heights as something like Oppenheimer, because there's not quite the same immediate cultural attachment to it as you did with something like Oppenheimer, which is still within living memory.
Guys, there's immediate cultural attachment. People are culturally attached to Oppenheimer. Wow.
We're still living with the fallout of that, for lack of a better word. And it doesn't have the Barbenheimer effect, which really pushed both of those movies to much greater heights than they would have had individually anyway. So I think something in the region of 700 to 800 million would be a reasonable number for this film. I think I could see it reaching that pretty easily.
Okay, and Andronic, finally a difficult question for you. I could have put it to either of you, but I picked on you mercilessly. Is it better for your business model if this is a massive turkey or a massive hit?
Believe it or not, it doesn't matter.
Really?
Same result either way. I have gotten, if we want to break down the...
He's going to look like a fucking idiot when this thing makes a lot of money. And then his audience is going to say, well, Cope, they're faking the numbers. Woke Hollywood. People are buying multiple tickets just to help praise the box office. They're going to cope in whatever fucking way they can. Obviously, it doesn't help his fucking message if the movie makes money, you know? His audience is still going to send him super chats. So good for that, Gary Beekler.
Financials, when I praise a movie, when it gets the same amount of money as when I don't. The best thing for my business model is being honest.
Yeah.
So if I love this movie, I'm gonna tell you I love this movie.
Oof. Motherfucker, let me guess, you're not gonna love the movie. Let me guess. Take your bets. And by the way, he's trying to hedge his bets because he said a couple times, look, it might be good. I might still like it. Helen of Troy might be in it for 2 minutes, so it might still be good. He said it like 3 times in the stream in his conversation with Piers Morgan. It might be good. So he's trying to hedge his bets, but knowing him, knowing his audience, knowing how many videos he can make by saying that he hated the fucking movie, he's not going to like the movie. He's not going to like the fucking movie. Just like Critical Drinker's not going to like the movie. Just like every single one on his fucking panel, I can predict very easily they do not like the movie. We already know. One of his panelists, Chris Gore, who's 60 years old, doesn't like it. His friend, Alan, whatever the fuck, doesn't like it. Surprise, surprise. They're all going to fucking hate it. Like clockwork. It is so predictable. It is so easy. With me, you don't know if I'm going to like it or not. You don't know if I'm going to. I just don't like people making up their minds before the movie even comes out. That's what I don't like. And trying to grift off of people and grift off of manufactured outrage, make money by getting people fucking angry and making them fucking racist in the fucking chat. Like, that's what's going to happen, dude. I'll be honest with you, if I don't like them, I'm like, hey, it was kind of disappointing. I was excited for it, but it was disappointing. But again, for reasons that make fucking sense.
You know what? The race swaps didn't matter. This thing was a masterpiece, and I'm a fan of Nolan. But the most important thing to any content creator should be being honest.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Authenticity. I think it's why young people are gravitating more and more to channels like yours and this one and others. You just got to be authentic, and people will love you, they'll hate you, but they can't deny you are being true to yourself, and that's the most powerful weapon a human being has. What a fascinating debate. What a great panel. Thank you all very much.
Amazing panel. Great quality content, Piers. Thank you so much. Can't wait for the movie to make a lot of money. Good or bad, I just want these fuckers to feel the pain a little bit. Let's close this thing. I kind of want to watch one of these Andy Serkis videos, dude. Did Nerdrotic talk about the Andy Serkis thing? I'm sure. Let's see. Andy Serkis. If he didn't make a video yet, y'all best believe it's coming. No, not yet, not yet. Well, Yellow Flash, this is as close as we're going to get. Let's watch a little bit. Just 2 minutes of this.
We've been talking about the Odyssey quite a bit and how the media is calling everybody a bunch of weirdos for demanding representation of actual Greek people in the Greek story that is the Odyssey, but apparently none of that matters.
This guy's upset because there aren't enough Greek people. Of course, Mr. Flash, of course.
It's a myth. So who cares what's going on in that? But then we saw Variety talk about Moana and how there was a whole team of people. Yes, a team of Polynesian consultants to make sure they got everything right, from the clothing to the tattoos. They wanted to make sure that that movie represented the culture that it was portraying. And of course, if you have anything to say about that compared to the Odyssey, well, then you're just a terrible person. What's wrong with you? Well, recently, Andy Serkis, the guy that's handling the hunt for Gollum, the new Lord of the Rings movie that's coming out that I'm not particularly that interested in, because I just feel like, you should just let
But now I'm interested. Now that it's an all-white cast, let's fucking go.
The only reason they're doing this stuff at all is to just try to milk it, which, it is what it is. I guess as long as it's good, I mean, that'll be fine, but it's going to have some issues because they're going to use that de-aging stuff, and maybe it'll be a little bit better now, but sometimes that stuff is really hit or miss. But he did an interview with the BBC, which I thought was pretty interesting because they asked him, your movie's getting a lot of criticism because you're casting a lot of white people. Why aren't you going to have any black hobbits? And he basically nicely told him to fuck off. He didn't say that, but he's like, yeah, we're not going to tick boxes just to tick boxes. We're not interested in that. And I said, wow, based. Because that guy's like literally, I don't know if he realized what he said there or not, but that's like putting your career on the line right now, casting like a bunch of white people in a movie. Frodo, everybody needs to be black. Literally Magic. I think Magic released Lord of the Rings Magic cards. And they race swapped characters for no reason. And if you said anything about it, of course, you are a bigot. But when it comes to any other culture, right, it needs to be authentic. I wish, I'd have more respect for this people if they would just come out and admit the truth that they just hate white people, particularly white men. I wish that they would just admit it. I would have a little bit more respect for them if they did, because at least then they would be honest, because that's really what it is. But, kudos
I have a problem with the white race sometimes, my man. One of the, probably arguably the most evil race on the planet is the white race. Fight me on that, motherfucker. Oh, Aitor says, oh my God, I can't believe it. The opposition managed to stop the session. They were forced to try again on August 6th. Israel still hasn't won. Well, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Congratulations, Aitor. Let's go.
To Andy for actually wanting to respect the source material, which is something that Amazon hasn't done. Look at the state of that Rings of Power show. All it does is bleed money. That thing is a disaster. They're literally just doing it now to finish it. Maybe they have some kind of obligation to do it, but I wish we could find out just how much money that series has lost because nobody's fucking watching it. Nobody. And it's funny looking at some of the responses to what Andy's doing here and how I'm actually surprised that they're letting him do it like this because Warner is very, very committed to diversity and inclusion. So it's crazy. And maybe they have realized, hey, we would like to make the most amount of money possible with this movie, so we just don't want to piss off the fan base, and we're just going to give them what they want. That's what I think Warner is maybe trying to do here. Who knows? But he gave a great answer, in my opinion, and he's getting shit for it. He's getting shit for it for no reason. There's all kinds of articles out there trashing what he said. And, they're all saying, well, he's leaving the money on the table. It could have been $1 billion.
Okay, we know where this is going. Expect to see a lot more videos praising Andy Serkis and hyping up The Hunt for Gollum. I just want to see them hyping up this movie and making it seem more exciting than it is. At least this guy's kind of like, look, I don't even think they should be making this movie, which I kind of agree with. But anyways, I promise you guys one more reaction. Let us watch LUS, L-U-S, some kind of lawyer glazing Ethan Klein, and then I'm going to F off, folks. And we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, with the popcorn bucket tier list. That's going to be fucking fun. Unless something crazy happens tonight, news-wise,
hey guys,
that I have to...
I felt like I should make this video. I still support Ethan Klein.
Okay,
a lot of people.
One second, buddy. Let me pause the video for a second. Jesus Christ. Okay. My computer is overheating. Let's just say that. Let's just put it mildly. Okay, I'm going to go quickly grab a quick something to bite from the fridge. I'll be right back, folks. Uno momento. Okay, so this guy called LUS, L-U-S, is like a YouTube lawyer? Some kind of a YouTube lawyer? Let's take a look at his channel. He's got 50K subs. 50K subbies. He's been glazing Ethan Klein and the H3 podcast and everything for a while now. Shitting on Denim, shitting on Casey Tron, shitting on Frogan, etc., etc. He's also been covering the Lego stuff. Very nice. God, I'm so tired of these fucking lawyers. They ruined the Lego saga. Lawyers completely ruined the Lego saga, folks. Same lawyers. Snark life. Why did Ethan drop the defamation case? H3 snarked. Look at that. Look at that fucking weirdo. Obsessed with Frogan, Denims. Fucking weirdo. Okay. Let's listen to why I support Ethan Klein even after Denims and Noah Samson legal wins. Please tell us. Doesn't he show his face in the video? Why not? Why are you ashamed of your face, buddy?
Hey guys, I felt like I should make this video. I still support Ethan Klein. A lot of people are either not making videos because, again, Ethan has suffered loss. Denins did win against Ethan Klein. That is not debatable. It is an appeal, so it can be flipped, but the initial win goes to Denins. And Noah Samson, the lawsuit has been dropped by Noah Samson. this is being taken by many people in the snark community to mean that there was no lawsuit to begin with, or there was no lawsuit that could have been won to begin with.
Pretty accurate. He had no shot.
Defamation, incredibly expensive, incredibly difficult to win. We've covered Logan Paul versus CoffeeZilla. I don't think Logan Paul has any chance to win that case either. To my knowledge, the only one involving YouTubes where defamation has been proven in Australia is Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobs. Of course, Carl Jobs is now suing Billy Mitchell in the US. So my support for Ethan Klein doesn't really change. It really comes down to H3 Snark. They are a nasty group. I only have to deal with maybe 1%, maybe less, what Ethan Klein has to deal with. Because, again, I'm not the main topic of discussion from them. But, again, they will repost my videos, my clips, and everything else, right? Because, yeah, why not talk about me some more? So, based on my experience with Snark, and initially they sent me this really nice email asking me to essentially look at their copyright, help them with copyright. And now they have turned against me. So this is a similar thing, I think, that what happened with Ethan, the fallen fans, if you will. And yeah, I don't think there's anything I need to say except not suing somebody is better than suing somebody if it's going to take a lot of your time, going to take a lot of your effort that you would rather spend with your family. Lawsuits, the only real winner are the lawyers. I've said that a million times for Carl Jobs and Billy Mitchell. Carl just wouldn't listen. He spent $1.1 million to be clowned on in court by the judge, and then spread lies about me, vicious lies about me, but that's neither here nor there. And I really did think about suing him for defamation. Again, technically the video is not a year. I guess it's a year-ish. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. But the time that it would take to sue somebody for defamation.
This is so fucking boring, dude. I don't even think I want to react to this shit, dude. It's so fucking boring.
Or sue somebody for copyright infringement. The legal expenses that you would be paying. The time away from your family so you don't work with the lawyer on finding documents. My God, a lot of time is spent.
Like, Tim, the worst thing about lawsuits is they take a lot of time and they can be expensive. That's the worst thing about lawsuits. Not that they could be used and weaponized to silence people, to try to bankrupt people. Frivolous lawsuits that make no fucking sense. That's not the worst part. Well, the worst part is that they take a lot of money and they keep you away from your family. I mean, yeah, sure, that fucking sucks. They also cause a lot of mental stress for people that are being sued for no fucking reason, for simply sharing an opinion online. That's what you think is the problem with lawsuits? You dweeb?
Finding documents. As someone who was recently sued by 2 doctors over 4 years, I can say, like, I would never get that time back. The money, it's whatever, right? Like, the money is the money, and it's always going to be expensive, and it's always good to have more money than less. But it's the time that I really regret.
Can you imagine making a pro Ethan Klein video in 2026? What are you going to get out of this, dude? Teddy Fresh? Teddy Glow? What do you... They're going to call you on. They're going to make you the official H3 lawyer if they need like questions. You think they're going to call you, invite you over as a guest? What? Why are you even doing this?
I really regret. I do feel, and this is different from how other people portray it, that Ethan Klein, after his good friend Oliver Tree passed away, is relooking at his content, relooking at his life. You know, Oliver Tree, he made amazing content. And does Ethan Klein want to make amazing content, or does he want to spend all his time, thoughts, stress, suing somebody for defamation? Now, Denon's, again, very different.
I mean, hey, we fucking talked about that when Oliver Tree passed. And I did say, like, hey, hopefully fucking Ethan's opens his fucking eyes, dude. And, like, what would Oliver Tree do? What would Oliver Tree think of all of these fucking lawsuits? He would have laughed at Ethan. Like, Ethan, you're being fucking crazy. Why are you suing Redditors? Why are you responding to fucking random people on Twitter? Why are you getting angry at what some fucking random people are saying about you on Reddit? Now, I don't think that's why he dropped the lawsuits. He lost the lawsuit to Denims. He saw the same thing was going to happen against Noah Samson, so he dropped that one preemptively. You know what I mean? Would it have been nice if Ethan actually was affected by Oliver Tree's death? Then I want him to fucking say, like, hey, you know what? I've changed my ways. I don't want to pursue these lawsuits anymore. He should have dropped the lawsuit against Frogan. He hasn't dropped that, has he? So was he really affected by Oliver Tree's passing? Or is he just dropping the lawsuits that he knows he can't fucking win? Or when he gets the apology that he wants from iDubbbz, the only reason he dropped that lawsuit, right?
I do feel like it all stems from the Child Protective Service call. That is a very jarring experience. It must have been a very horrible experience for Ethan and his family. You can only imagine. Like, what I'm saying right now is I only get 1% because I'm a small channel and I don't have my own snark yet. I only get 1%.
And you won't have your own snark. Judged by by your charisma and your videos, you're not getting a snark, my guy. People will shit on you from pre-existing snarks. You're not getting your very own snark. I'm sorry. I'm probably never going to get my own snark, right? That's okay. We don't all deserve our own snark pages. It's all right.
Of the hate and the snark. I guess there's no other way for me to describe it. It's not like it's snark that Ethan gets. No, I don't have Denon coming after me every day. I don't have Hassan Piker or what's his name, Sean the Black. I don't have Casey Tron. I don't have Noah Sampson making the long YouTube videos that 1 million people watch about my wife. Right? Like, these are things that are, I cannot relate to directly, but I can relate to the 1% of, and I can tell you it's awful.
I love how everyone brings up the CPS shit as if, like, who do you even know who called CPS? Did Noah Sampson call CPS? Did Denims call CPS? Did iDubbbz call CPS? Did Frogan call CPS? Did I call CPS? Did any of the people that Ethan is going after, did any of them fucking call CPS, my guy? Shit, I even called out the CPS call. I was like, hey, this probably shouldn't have happened. What the fuck is this about? CPS. They did CPS. They did CPS. God, I thought this would be a fun reaction to do, man.
It is the worst when you are being brigaded by these snarkers, when you're being attacked relentlessly by them, when they're in your comment section saying, cope. I'm not coping. I'm presenting it as it is, as I see it. Look, at the end of the day, lawyers are the only people who win lawsuits. If you want a good example of this, you look at Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobs. Billy Mitchell won. He won everything he could win. The judge hated Carl Jobs with a passion and even clowned him at the very end. But Billy Mitchell didn't recover what he thought he could recover. He spent, according to Carl Jobs, over 1.1 million Australian, which is how much Carl Jobs spent. That amount is not recovered. That lawyer was already paid in advance. That's what a retainer is. Carl Jobs' lawyers doing a terrible, one of the most awful jobs I've ever seen, defend a client, also got paid $1.1 million as a legal team. CoffeeZilla and Logan Paul are battling it out. And I can tell you they're spending millions, if not independently, but definitely collectively.
We're going to finish this just because we have to, but LUS, this is the last time I'm reacting to one of your shitty videos, man. You fucking suck. You are boring as shit, dude. What the fuck? I wish I could react to more of your stuff. You seem like a grand idiot, you know? You seem like a great source of content. You're out there defending Ethan Klein in 2026. Holy shit, like, I should have been telling you thank you. What is this shit, dude?
This out. Lawyers, they know how to extend these things. They know how to extend their billing. You look at Carl Jobs, and he was told it would take 200,000. Then it was 400,000. Then it was 600,000. And eventually that number ballooned to 1.1 million. So from a decent estimate of 200, 400,000 most, it ballooned to 1.1 million. And now how does that happen? Lawyers. The more time that you spend paying your lawyers, and you are paying them. We know Ram bills at $400 an hour now. That's his new billable rate. $400 an hour is a lot of money, guys. It is a lot of money. I've always been, even though I myself am a lawyer, I've always been a big proponent of settlement. I've always been a big proponent of, if you don't have to sue, then don't sue. Because even if money is not an issue to you, and money is always an issue, right? Like, money is time. Time you can spend making more content. I had a huge YouTuber, over 1 million subscribers, call. This was maybe, I want to say maybe a year ago or about a year ago. And he was getting in, like, again,
yeah, sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Folks, we're going to call this stream a stream, okay? I'm going to be back tomorrow. For I'm going to post the popcorn bucket live stream now just to get it ready. And in case something else pops up, like some big piece of news, some big video that we have to react to tomorrow, then I will replace the topic. We will talk about something else. But for now, I'm thinking I want to get this popcorn bucket thing out of the way. It's super fun. I got a lot of popcorn bucket pictures ready to go. Oh, Genova96 just gifted 5 Do Not Worry memberships. Holy shit, folks. Genova96 with the 5 gifted. Holy fuck, folks. Congratulations to Silver Lena, Groovy Deadite, Damien G2. Ooh, Groovy Deadite. Are you we got ourselves an Evil Dead fan over here. We got Mariros Atalla got one, and Shinamu just got one, and Damien. Guys, holy shit. Thank you so much, Genova. That is way too kind. That is way too generous. W's in the chat. Let's go. Thank you so much. That's way too kind, Genova. Thank you for supporting. We got 12 new members today. 12 new members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Briarleaf is saying, take care, folks. Brace yourselves for 10. What's happening tonight? What is happening tonight? Let me close this boring-ass video. I don't even want to look at this guy's channel anymore. Disgusting. So tomorrow, we are going to have a very fun time counting down these popcorn buckets, okay? I'm so excited about it. We love you all. Genova says, out with a bang. Much love, Anthony and D&W fam. Genova, what a bang that is, Genova. Thank you so much. That is so kind and so generous. Much, much love to you, genuinely. You're always out here being one of our biggest contributors. You're fucking awesome and a member as well. So cannot thank you enough, genuinely. Cannot thank you guys enough. You guys are the best. Folks, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm watching the Odyssey on my last day here, but I'll try to maybe do like a live stream review of the film. I want to try to shoot a quick vlog at the movie theater, just show you guys the theater, the screen, the 6-story high IMAX building. Again, I love that theater just because I've seen 2 Christopher Nolan movies there in IMAX, which have really seminal view. Like The Dark Knight Rises is my least favorite of the trilogy, but like getting to watch a Chris Nolan movie filmed in IMAX in a real IMAX theater was always fun. So I want to give you guys a little bit of that experience. I'll try to film a quick little vlog. I'll try to edit it quickly and then maybe play it on the live stream. Hopefully we can do that. Guys, thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. I will see you guys tomorrow and the day after for another live stream. We're going crazy with the live streams, okay? Everybody who contributed today, let me say. And Ators, I'm so happy to hear that the opposition was able to stop the Argentinian government from selling off your land to the Israelis, because we know that that's who's going to buy the land. Israel's going to buy the land. No one else is. So Genova, thank you so much. Ator, thank you so much. Andrea Joan, thank you so much. Chris, thank you so much. Marine Animus, thank you so much. Sunflower, Dragon, and Fart Twain. You guys are awesome. To everybody who contributed today, we love and appreciate you so much. To our members, to our patrons, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll be back in Lebanon. I'll be back in Lebanon on the 24th of July. I'll be back there on the 24th, and I might even stream on the 24th. We love you. See you tomorrow. Much love to everybody. I was just about to say, Haley, enjoy the vacation, and she sends a $10 super chat. Haley says, when is it enough? How bad do you need that stuff? What's it all for? Why does it seem like you still want more? When is it enough? Turns out you don't need that stuff. I agree. What are we talking about? Oh, tonight is Trump's discourse. Holy shit. He's doing like a speech? Oliver Tree's Cash Machine lyrics. Oh my God, that's right. I don't know that. When is it enough? How bad do you need that stuff? What's it all for? Why does it seem like you still want more? When is it enough? Turns out you don't need that. Dude, it could be like he's talking to Ethan here. Ethan, when is it enough? How bad do you need to win these lawsuits? What's it all for? Why is it you seem like you still want more, Ethan? When are the lawsuits enough, Ethan? Turns out you don't need those lawsuits. And Haley says Ethan is exactly the person. Yep. It connected when I read it. And Haley, by the way, thank you for the extra generous donation. Are you crazy, Haley? Are you crazy? By the way, I hope to get a chance to meet Haley before I get out of here. So Haley, let's make that happen. Enjoy the weekend away. It's gonna seem disingenuous now. It's gonna seem like I was literally gonna wish you a happy vacation. Haley, like I said, we better not see you in the live chat for the next 3 days. Everybody in chat, yell at Haley. Make sure that she does not show up for the next 3 days. Enjoy the weekend getaway. Enjoy the time away. Get off your screens. Don't be looking at no screens, okay? Even if I know you're gonna be tempted to watch the popcorn bucket tier list, Haley, no. No popcorn bucket tier list for you. You're going to watch the replay, Haley. You're going to watch the replay of the popcorn bucket tier list. Please. Thank you so much for the generous dono, Haley. Haley has been, I mean, our greatest supporter, you know? Haley is up there with the legends of this channel. So, Haley, we love you so much. Thank you so much. Go take a nice little break, a nice little weekend getaway. Send my love to the hubby. All my love to the hubby. You guys are going to have a great weekend. Yeah, Diggifer says, Haley, I will eat your toes if you don't listen. No Haley here. And Haley, if you want to sneak in and watch, don't chat. Don't let us know, okay? You best not be here, Haley. Okay? Oh my, Ravy baby says, yeah, fuck off, Haley. Oh my, Ravy. Relax, Ravy, okay? Calm down. No one said anything about fucking off. But okay, I'm gonna hit the outro button very soon, folks. So we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you all so much for allowing me to do this and allowing me to entertain you guys. Tomorrow, the Gripper Cup is coming. And tomorrow I'm filling the Gripper Cup. Okay, I'm going to be drinking out of that Gripper Cup tomorrow, folks. I'm going to be gripping it hard. Gripping it with all my might. I love you all. Appreciate you all. More than you know. More than I could ever express, to be honest with you guys. We love you. We'll see you all tomorrow. And as always, do not worry.